1310 WDPN studio, it's time for live and local sports talk. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
I'm ready.
Give the show a call at 330-821-1310.
Good call, meatball.
Watch the Sam Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Edwards. Bank shot no good. Rebound Gilgeous-Alexander. Holds it. Throws it down the court. Goes out of bounds. Throws it inside. Deflected from Williams, and that's it. It's over.
He's got his weight back. Now he's trying to get his baseball weight and strength back.
3-2 pitch hit on the ground to third. Long throw for Ramirez. On the money.
Oh, boy. What a play.
He climbs in. Williams has one that he likes. And off we go with Ohtani blasting the ball. Way gone. One pitch, one swing, one run.
Attempting to stave off elimination tonight. Here's Stankoven. Stankoven in with a shot. Score! The Hurricanes take their first lead of the series.
And with that, welcome into the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN. Don't forget we're streaming live all over the world at AM 1310 WDPN.com. I almost said welcome to the Monday edition, but I caught myself. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day holiday weekend. Lots of stuff to get into today. But before we go any further, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the Pro Football Hall of Fame ribs burn-off over at the Hall of Fame Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was out there Saturday, Sunday, and it was fantastic. And shout out to all the great folks from our sister station Q92 and of course 1310 WDPN. Great job by everybody. Thanks to all the folks who came up and said hello and registered to win some goodies and enjoyed some great ribs and drinks and just kind of took in the whole atmosphere. And, of course, a great job by our friends at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for putting on a spectacular burn-off over the weekend. And actually, I was there Saturday, 5 to 8 p.m., which was really cool. And it got a little chilly there by the end, I got to tell you that. And then I was there 12 to 4, 12 to 5 on Sunday, went home, and then the fam, we got in the car, and we drove back about 9:15, and we caught the fireworks, and we headed back home. So good job, Hall of Fame. Nice job, everybody. I'm looking forward to being a part of that again next year. Okay. What should we start with today? I mean, we just had a cornucopia of stuff to get into. The Guardians will try to tie the series with the Dodgers a little bit later on tonight at 6:40. Shohei Ohtani, you heard Shohei's home run in the opening today, and the Dodgers in town for game 2 of that 3-game series. Don't forget, tomorrow it's a 1:10 first pitch up at Progressive Field. Cards fell last night 7-2. We'll see if they can get things turned around tonight. Oklahoma City is closing in on a berth in the NBA Finals. They took care of the Timberwolves last night. The Knicks will try to even the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. If they get a win tonight, that series will be tied at 2. Game 4 of this evening is in Indianapolis. Excuse me. High school baseball tournament is heating up. There have been a couple competitive games. And then there have been games like today. And I guess there's nothing you can do about it. Massillon and Euclid are playing over at Ducky Schroeder Field today in a Division II sectional championship game. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, Massillon 31, Euclid nothing. That's not a misprint. That's not a misread. That's not a typo. 31-0. Massillon leads Euclid in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And I understand the Tigers actually pulled all of their starters after the 2nd inning was over, but it's just been one of those days. So the Tigers obviously will advance in the baseball tournament, and we'll keep you updated with that one. Holy smokes, 31-0 in the third inning. And you got to play all 5 games. You have to play all 5. And I don't know if there's a rule that if both managers get together and say, hey, let's call this, I think you got to play all 5. I could be wrong. If anybody out there knows, give us a ring. By the way, our phone number, 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. You can always text the program as well at 330-924-7088. Hello to everybody watching and listening today right now as we give you the big wave here from the studios here on Smith Avenue in Alliance. If you're watching and listening on the Q92 Radio Facebook page and Q92 Radio YouTube channel, you can do that. You can drop some comments on there as well and take part in all the great things we've got going on today. Let's see here. What else we got on this day in history coming up a little bit later on today? We're going to be talking some NFL, a little bit of Browns with Nick Shook from NFL.com. He'll be joining us at 3:35 this afternoon, so you don't want to miss that. Want to shout out former Glen Golden Eagle, Eric McCullum. That's CJ's brother. Eric's European team won the Euro Championship yesterday over Monaco, 81-70. So congratulations to Eric and the fellows for capturing that championship. Also, a little bit of high school basketball news. Not necessarily a team in our coverage area, so to speak. But the Coventry Comets High School, they've hired a new basketball coach. His name might be familiar to you. Larry Taylor is going to be in charge now of the Coventry basketball program. He is leaving Tuskegee Central Catholic after a couple of years, and now he's the new head coach at Coventry. And we'll see if we can get Coach Taylor on maybe this week and talk about him taking over the Coventry basketball program and what some of the plans are there. Let's see here. Ask and you shall receive. By rule, you have to play all 5 innings in an OHSAA tournament game. Shout out to Gramps. Gramps knows who he is. Appreciate it. Tell you what, that's another reason I've always loved this field. You never know who's out there. You never know who's out there listening. You never know may who have. Did I graduate English? I better go check the transcripts. You never know who might have an answer for you. You throw a question out there, and either by telephone, by text, by YouTube channel, by Twitter, by Facebook, somebody will have an answer. And that's one of the beauties of this business. So, you got to play all 5 in high school baseball for it to count as a full, complete game. So, trust me, that game's going to be over in 5 innings. Massillon on top of Euclid, 31-0 in that tournament contest. What else we got going on today? Yes, our Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. This has created not a firestorm, but quite a bit of traction on all of our social media platforms today. Poll question of the day: of these 4 series, which is the best one? Of these 4 series, which is the best one? A, Game of Thrones. B, Breaking Bad. C, The Wire. D, The Sopranos. Which one is your favorite? Let us know on X at AM1310 WDPN. You can drop it on the YouTube channel. You can also put it on my Facebook page as well. What's your favorite series out of those 4 I just mentioned? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, or The Sopranos? Now, right now on X, The Sopranos are leading the way at 47%, Breaking Bad at 34%, Game of Thrones 13%, and The Wire at 6%. But remember now, we always check both social media platforms of the ones that we put the Twitter poll question on. And it looks like on Facebook, Sopranos is kind of running away there as well. Freddie Iberis. Freddie, hope you're doing well. He says The Sopranos. Tommy Michelides says, give me The Sopranos. Drew Platt says Sopranos. Tony Ramos says, I'm a fan of all 4, but it's a tie between Breaking Bad and The Sopranos. Doug in the PTO says The Sopranos. Bill Elliott, Sopranos. Rob Rykowski went off the board. He says Ozark. Okay. We'll throw Ozark in there too. Let me see here. Reese Gadone. Reese, I hope you're doing well, pal. He says Game of Thrones he never saw. So in this order, he says The Sopranos, The Wire, and Breaking Bad. John Tombo, the pride of Tuslaw, says, give me The Sopranos. Heidi Lynn Mucci says, I'll take Breaking Bad. And Ron Horning goes with Breaking Bad. Doug Parton says, Sammy, I never watched any of them. Okay, that's cool too. Mike Linky, Eric Harkins also going with The Sopranos. Now, Mr. Rainsberg, I know you are a television series, movie aficionado.
You could say that.
Who do you like here? What's your top one out of those four?
So I've been racking my brain on this. I do want to point out whoever said Ozark definitely has a strong point.
Okay.
He is not incorrect. That is a fantastic television show. But I think it is almost a tie between Breaking Bad and The Sopranos. But I think Breaking Bad edges out a little bit for me because it has a better ending. The Sopranos show, despite the fact that it is spectacular, the ending is a little divisive, to say the least, between fans. But everybody thinks Breaking Bad ended great, so I might have to go with Breaking Bad.
You want to hear something?
I'm ready.
I never watched one episode of the Game of Thrones.
Makes sense.
Never watched one episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh,
Never saw one episode of The Wire.
I haven't seen The Wire, I will say that.
And I've seen very few of The Sopranos. I don't get or did not have access to, due to our particular, shall we say, cable plan, I did not have access to any of those shows. Because they were all on, like, pay sites, right?
Yeah, they
wasn't either Netflix or Max or whatever.
Every single one of these
Or
shows,
HBO.
except for Breaking Bad, is an HBO show.
Yeah, I didn't have access to it. So that's why, I mean, I can't sit here and lie to you and say, oh, yeah, I remember that episode. No, I never had HBO in my life. Now, we get HBO like 3 times a year when they do the free preview weekend. And I try to record as many shows as I can. We almost fill up all the space on the DVR. But because of not having HBO, never saw hardly any of those shows. Well, none of Thrones, Breaking Bad, or The Wire. None. Now, I understand I can go back and watch Breaking Bad has been on AMC for years.
Yeah, I think
you can go back and watch the different seasons.
They're always moving it around.
Right.
So
right.
You just got to pin down where it is and watch it. Breaking Bad is definitely worth it.
I've heard all about the aura of The Sopranos.
Yes.
And I get it because I love that kind of show, genre, whatever. Breaking Bad, heard a million things about it, but again, couldn't watch it. So then I'm like, well, God, do I try to take all this time to figure out syndication or whatever? I can line up these series and knock them out. But the other thing is, I'm not really a binge show watcher. I don't know how people can do that. I really don't. I don't know how people can sit around for hours. I mean, 4, 5, 6 hours and binge watch a show. Who has that kind of time? I don't. And I'm not even that busy. I don't know how people have time. Hey, I watched 24 episodes of blah, blah, blah the other day. Really? How? Did you use the restroom at all? I mean, how do you have time to binge watch all these shows? And people, they will go from series A, B, C, D, E, and they'll name them all. And they'll say, yep, saw all 68 episodes of that one. Watched all 44 of that one. Oh, I got season 2, 3, 4, and 5 in last night. Ready to go for what? I don't know how you do it. I don't know how people do it.
Oh, Sam, you're talking to one of those people.
Oh my God. How do you do it? Seriously, I want to know because there's got to be a way. So I would like to do it, but like shrink the time that's involved.
So for me, I think it's like a completion thing that's left over from video gaming where once I start the story, I need to figure out how it ends, no matter how long that takes.
Okay.
So I will, once I'm hooked, I will watch something until I pass out. That's my addiction. I don't do drugs. I watch television shows.
Watches it till he passes out.
Yes. It's like, it's this uncontrollable urge to know where the show goes, and I have to finish it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That-
an unfortunate obsession.
That takes a special kind of dedication. I got to tell you that.
Yeah, it's not really a good thing to have.
Yeah.
It's not a good skill. It doesn't help you at all.
I'm not there, man. I am just not there. All right. Well, that's our poll question of the day. Of the four that I mentioned, which series, which program is the best? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, or The Sopranos? Hit us up at 330-821-1310. That's 330-821-1310. You can also text the show anytime, 330-924-7088. Lots to get into today. Don't forget, from NFL.com, Nick Shook at around 3:35. We'll check up on the Guards and the Dodgers, and we got a lot of stuff planned for you today right here on 1310 WDPN. It's the Sam Bourquin Show on a Tuesday afternoon. Stay with us.
Are you ready to up your mealtime game with a beautiful new dining suite? How about your movie nights on the couch? Is more comfortable seating on your list this year? Maybe you just need a better night's rest. Whatever the case, when we spend time at home with our families, we all want quality, comfort, and names we can trust. That's why Grove's appliances, furniture sets, and even their mattresses make all the difference. With a beautiful showroom full of ideas and over 700 fabric choices for furniture, you'll be sure to find something that will fit beautifully into your home. On a budget, Grove has a scratch and dent room filled with appliances with minor aesthetic blemishes that can help you replace that fridge on the fritz for a fraction of the cost. Come and see why Grove is better than big box stores. Explore your options and get to know Grove's amazing staff and stellar service team to help with all of your needs.
Come see us at Grove, where it always feels like home.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
And welcome back, everybody. Happy Tuesday, the day after the big Memorial Day holiday weekend. I would tell you what, usually people will come up to you if you're like a 5-day a work week person, 40 hours, what have you, and you'll come back from a vacation. You've been gone for 6 or 7 days, or you'll come back from a holiday weekend, and usually there's always one person in the office, or they'll catch you by the water cooler, or in the parking lot or the parking garage or whatever. Say, hey, don't you feel refreshed after being away? And she's like, yeah. I got to tell you, and I don't know why it was, because it was 1 day off yesterday. And I was like, wow, I mean, I was rip-roaring, ready to get back at it today. And even being at the burn-off in a working capacity Saturday and Sunday, just like having the day off yesterday was like, wow, that was like really, really good, really nice. And even before my head hit the pillow last night, I was working on some stuff for the show today and getting some audio together. And I thought, my God, what's the matter with me? I'm ready to go into work right now and do a show. I was ready to go because you get in that routine, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You come in at a certain time, you do your thing, you do your show, you do a little show review. Rainsburg and I have a little powwow after the shows are over and what we liked, what we didn't, and we get ready for the next day. So you've got that routine. But then Sunday night comes around, and of course it's a holiday weekend, and we were out, at the Hall of Fame watching the fireworks. So we got back home around 10, and it's like, wow, don't have to work tomorrow. So it was kind of cool. I mean, I feel like, okay, ready to rock and roll today. And hopefully you all are ready too, because we got a big show planned for you. And don't forget, we'll be hanging out with you until 6:00 this afternoon. Phone lines are open, 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. I ran into a bunch of folks at the Ribs Burn-Off between Saturday and Sunday over at the Hall of Fame. And people that are listening to the show, one gentleman who was working one of the, I guess you would say, beverage trucks, the pop and water truck. And he says, hey, man, I love the show. I've been meaning to call in, but I can't catch the phone numbers. You're going too fast. I'm like, my bad. I'll slow it down. So that's one of my things for today. I'm gonna try to read the phone numbers to call in a little bit slower than normal. But people are loving the show. They're loving on this day in sports history. They're loving the guests. They had a couple people say they loved the Todd Blackledge interview we had a couple of days ago. Loving the high school coverage that we're giving the baseball teams and talking about the softball teams and this and that. So that was kind of cool. And again, thanks to everybody who came out to the Ribs Burn-Off at the Hall of Fame this weekend. Got to meet a lot of you for the first time. We got to meet a lot of you for a lot of times over the last several years. And that's always cool. All right, we got the news and weather coming up here at the bottom. Gee whiz, I think it's going to rain tonight, and I think it's going to rain tomorrow. Hopefully that'll be it for the week. But we got all that information coming your way. Don't forget, Nick Shook, NFL.com, will be joining us at 3:35. And we got a lot more to get to here on 1310 WDPN. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
Now, the latest area news on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 3:30. 3 more of the inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail May 16th were recaptured Monday, leaving 2 still on the run. ABC's Jim Ryan tells us about the remaining fugitives.
At the time of the jailbreak, 27-year-old Derek Groves was waiting to be sentenced on his 2 second-degree murder convictions. Groves is considered so dangerous that 2 prosecutors who helped to convict him left the state after hearing about the escape. The other fugitive is convicted rapist Antoine Massey, who's fled from custody 3 times in the past.
Meanwhile, Louisiana State Police say the number of people charged in the jailbreak has risen to 13. The former prosecutor who helped put the former police chief Grant Hardin, who escaped from an Arkansas prison behind bars, is now speaking out about Hardin and his escape. Former Benton County prosecutor Nathan Smith.
He's a sociopath. Prison's not full of people who are all bad. It's full of a lot of people who just do bad things. Grant's different.
Hardin was convicted of murder and rape. He escaped from a prison in north central Arkansas Sunday. State troopers, sheriff's deputies, and local police across Arkansas have been told to be on the lookout for him. Police say 65 people were injured when a car rammed into a crowd of Liverpool soccer fans celebrating their team's Premier League championship, and 11 remain hospitalized today. Assistant Chief Constable Jenny Sims of Merseyside Police said the patients were all stable. 50 of the casualties required hospital treatment. The 53-year-old car driver has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Detective Chief Superintendent Karen Jondrill says the man is also being held on suspicion of dangerous driving and driving on drugs. The suspect reportedly followed an ambulance to get through roadblocks that had been set up during Liverpool's championship parade. Stocks jumped higher today on the news that tariffs against European exports have been delayed until July 9th. More from ABC's Alexis Christophers, who says despite the rally, stocks and U.S. tariff policies are still uncertain long-term.
As tariff policy flip-flops, so too do the markets. Today, we have a nice rally on optimism that trade deals could be in the offing. The fact that the White House did hit the pause button on those stiff 50% tariffs against the European Union. That's not the only reason why we're rallying today. We also got a report that showed consumer confidence jump for the first time in 5 months, the biggest jump in about 4 years.
It's 66 degrees in Alliance at 3:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Here's the Alliance Area Weather Forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
A chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies on to high reaching 69. Clouds linger on into your Tuesday night. Showers likely overnight with a low of 51. Showers and thunderstorms also possible Wednesday afternoon with a high reaching 62. That's your AM 1310 WDPN weather.
America, our military is sacrificing for our freedom. So please take time to remember our men and women fighting overseas. This salute courtesy of Diamond in the Rough Property Solutions, serving our community with dependability and excellence. For all of your residential and light commercial remodeling needs, call the professionals at 330-763-0089. 330-763-0089. Diamond in the Rough Property Solutions, reminding everyone to hire smart, hire a vet.
I want you to imagine for a moment you're in a hospital. You are the patient connected to an IV bag. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, endless pokes, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine experiencing all of these things and you're only a child. This is why Starlight exists, to bring happiness to hospitalized children through programs that help kids cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Programs like gaming, virtual reality headsets, toy deliveries, radio flyer wagons, and cozy hospital gowns are just a few of the ways Starlight eases a child's hospital stay. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
There we go. We're back. 1310 WDPN, streaming live at AM 1310 WDPN.com. People keep texting me, Sam, what's the score? What's the Massillon Euclid score? What's the update? What's the update? Come on, what do you folks want? Blood? What's the matter with you? Okay, I'll tell you. It's Massillon 35, Euclid nothing in the fourth inning. 35-0 in the fourth inning. Got a spy over at the game today, giving me all the scoop. And Massillon starters were out in the second inning. Nobody from Massillon is allowed to advance to the next base. If they get a base hit, if there is a walk, not a walk, but like a pass ball or a wild pitch, you're not allowed to advance. They're trying to they've been trying all afternoon, keep it where it's at. But things have just gotten out of hand in that OHSAA baseball game. So they're still playing. They're in the top of the fourth inning. Massillon leads Euclid now 35-0. Nope, that's not football, folks. That's baseball. Wow, that's brutal. That really is. All right, speaking of football, what do you say? We talk a little NFL, a little Cleveland Browns, a little pigskin here the day after Memorial Day. From NFL.com, let's bring him in. Nick Shook to the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN, Q92 Sports.com. Nick, good afternoon, buddy. How you doing this afternoon?
Good. Glad to be on, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's been a while. Things good?
Yeah, the off season's starting to come together. It's finally starting to slow down. We're starting to get to, where it's a little more relaxed in the football world before we pick back up here in a couple of months.
I figured now was a good time before you got too crazy for you, man. I don't want to be that guy. Hey, Nick, can you come on? Well, I got 9 different things going today. Maybe I can come on like in 4 months from now. So that now is a good time. So before we hit the little Aaron Rodgers stuff, I see Kirk Cousins didn't show up to OTAs, and there's a lot of stuff going on, as there always is in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, a team tried and true and near and dear to all of our hearts in Northeast Ohio, could be shaping up, Nick, to have, and I can't say one of their worst seasons ever, because they have gone 0-4, they've gone 1-4. Last year, they only won less than a handful of games. It looks like that might be another repeat this year, and it looks like it's actually going to be by design. When you look at the Brownies, Nick, what do you see right now? What do you believe their real philosophy is as they approach this upcoming year?
I think it's a multi-year approach because it's the only way that they can really get themselves out of the hole that they dug themselves into with the Deshaun Watson move, with the gamble that they took on him and how it's just completely failed and it's flopped. And look, this was not a good quarterback class. They spend, a 3rd-round pick on a guy they believe in Dylan Gabriel. They grab Shedeur Sanders because he's there as a 5th rounder. It's just a flyer on him at that point. You have Joe Flacco and you have Kenny Pickett. It's an open competition, and frankly, I don't think either of those veterans are your long-term guy. Obviously, we'll see what you get from the rookies. You're essentially giving yourself, it's the shotgun approach, throw the spaghetti at the wall approach, and see what sticks. And I think that the smartest thing they did this entire offseason was trading out a number 2, picking up that additional 1st rounder with the idea that you can couple the two to move up in the draft next year to take the quarterback that you really want if things don't go well for you this year. So, when it comes to record projection, there's not a lot of excitement about them other than the fact that they have Shedeur, and it gives fans a reason to, I guess, pay attention to training camp. But ultimately, I see their ceiling as being no better than like 8 and 9, which would make the season interesting for a while and might, save the jobs of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. But, if they finished like they did last season, it would be I would have a hard time believing they wouldn't make wholesale changes and give a new regime, those 2 first-round picks to work with. Every time you pull the plug, you risk undoing any of the progress made by the previous regime. This has been an unprecedented range of stability for the Browns since they've been back in 1999. And so you don't want to give that up easily, but you also want to see some progress, at least in one direction or another. And that's what you're hoping for. And if you get to 7-8 wins, that might be, the sign that you need, especially an 8-win or a 7-win season where you go Eric Mangini and you win the last 4 to save your job, that type of thing. We'll see if that's how it plays out, but I just can't imagine that they're anywhere better than flirting with 500 at best.
Yeah, I would be shocked if they even got that high. Nick Shook is our guest. Check him out, NFL.com, at the Nick Shook on X. Check him out at the Nick Shook, SHOOK. Gosh, I hate to go back in history here because it's been probably over talked about and overplayed out forever. Nick, in your wildest dreams, you've been following the NFL for a long time. You've been following the Browns for a long time. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that the Deshaun Watson experiment would end as badly as it did for everybody?
No. In the moment that they made the deal, you knew it was a big swing, but at the time they weren't the only team pursuing him. There was an inherent risk with the fact that he didn't play that entire previous season, but you thought, look, this is a guy who led the NFL in passing yards a couple of seasons ago. He's still got to have it. I did wonder, and this is, maybe some bias in just what I'd seen from him when he was in Houston. I wondered if he was really as good as people valued him to be, because there was a lot of times where I would watch Texans tape and I would see him break clean pockets just out of habit, just out of nervousness, when he didn't need to. And instead of standing back there and surveying, he would break the pocket. I also, got him in trouble sometimes, but I also thought that philosophically he wasn't the best fit for what Kevin Stefanski liked to do. And it felt like a bit of a desperation move for a Browns team that felt like they might be close. They were frustrated with what they got from Baker Mayfield in that last season, especially as he was playing through injury and wasn't playing well. And it felt like the pressure of needing to win now and take advantage of the players that you had kind of got to them, but it didn't fit with what their coaching staff really liked to do. Then they try to change ideologically, in the entire offense. In the quarterback room, they get backups that are similar to him in style, at least in one way or another, and it just doesn't work. And credit to them for finding ways to stay competitive 2 seasons ago with Joe Flacco and everything else. I mean, the team started 5 quarterbacks that year and made the playoffs. I mean, that's a remarkable achievement. And a lot of that is a testament to Kevin Stefanski's coaching. And I think he's done a great job of pulling rabbits out of hats in previous years. But ultimately, they kind of took too big of a swing and they paid for it. So now they're trying to do their best to recover. And that's why I think that they could get a longer leash from ownership, who understands that, look, this is not going to be turned around overnight. But no, when that happened, did I think it would go this poorly? No. Was I convinced that it was going to be the saving grace they needed? No. But I mean, you don't ever think when a guy is traded 3 first-round picks are traded for a guy that he's going to be so bad that he ends up, I do a quarterback ranking.
Right.
I ranked him the worst quarterback in the NFL last year because he was.
He was. We saw it. I mean, it was unbelievable. You know, I did a X poll question on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I just more or less I said the Cleveland Browns quarterback room of Gabriel, Flacco, Shador, and Pickett. And I asked the question, who will be the odd man out? And it basically broke down to, out of the 4 choices that you had, I swear to you, Nick, it was almost 25% for each guy. That's like where the fan base is. How do you think this plays out by the first week of September? Who's going to be under center and who's going to be maybe already somewhere else?
I think that poll perfectly illustrates how wide open this competition is and how little we know about who's going to fit well and everything else. I've had 2 takes on this since everything kind of shook out. The first initial reaction was, as soon as they drafted Gabriel and Shador, I thought, well, Pickett's gone. He's the guy that has trade value and is going to get traded. Then you hear word out of Berea that it's Pickett's job to lose, which does not necessarily change my thought that he could still get traded. So if you kind of have to look at it as, all right, we're going into week 1. What do we want our quarterback room to look like? Do we like both these rookies enough to give them both roster spots? Do we like Kenny Pickett enough? Does he have enough upside to trust him in the event that either A, he's our starter as our bridge, or he's our veteran backup? Because that's the role Joe Flacco plays, as the veteran backup. What he did in Indianapolis. I don't think he's a guy you plan to start 17 games with over the season. So I think you end up seeing one of 3 scenarios. Kenny Pickett wins the job, and you see both rookies make the roster and they move on from Flacco. Pickett wins the job, Flacco's on the roster, and they try to stash one of those rookies on the practice squad, or one of the rookies rises up and takes it, a la Russell Wilson when he was a rookie in Seattle. And you probably trade Kenny Pickett, you keep Joe Flacco, and you have your third stringer as the other rookie, and you just kind of go forward. So there are a lot of different possibilities, and I think that's what makes for a fascinating camp for them, and a reason for people to watch them this year, if for nothing more than we would like to stick around to see how bad this could be if everything fails, right. But also like the intrigue of, hey, maybe they do find a guy from this group.
Well, I do know most of the experts out in Vegas have the Browns at the over-under win total has been around 4.5. And that tells you also, when the schedule release came out, Nick, that they also are telling you by putting the Browns in every 1 o'clock slot except for one that's on the West Coast, and there's another one they're going to play at home against the Ravens. They're telling you that this team is just not going to be very good. And none of us should be surprised if we see another 3-14 or a 4-13. That's a pretty fair assessment, right?
Yeah, and I know it's bleak when you think about that in late May, but it is, you're being honest, and I'm right there with you. And it's funny, I do schedule release stuff about the day before it comes out. We usually end up with it and write toward it to prepare and everything. And the first thing I do is, all right, how many primetime games does this team have? And I'll know which teams are not going to have primetime games before I even open it up. And by the time I open it up, I'm like, yep. And the Browns, by the way, that schedule is a gauntlet as well.
Yeah, it is.
In the 1 o'clock window, it's an absolute gauntlet through the first 8 weeks and could really put them in a tough spot. So if you have the confidence of ownership, you can just kind of say, well, you know what, screw it. Nobody expects us to win anyway. Let's go see what we have in these quarterbacks, and then it gets interesting. But yeah, it's a strong sign that the league doesn't expect them to be a competitive team. And I've seen other teams get that treatment. I think it was Tennessee got that treatment. A lot of the quote unquote bottom feeders, or the teams that just aren't expected to do much, end up getting that treatment. It is also funny on the flip side, when you have a team with a lot of hype, but it's unproven or unjustified hype, it's a lot of off-season hype, you get a lot of early season primetime games. So think about the 2019 Browns. They were primetime like every week in the first 6 weeks. And they blew a tire early, and the NFL is kind of like giving them an easy off ramp to not force an underachieving team into a primetime window late in the season. So that's how you can kind of glean some expectations from the league office when the schedule comes out, and I think rightfully so with these Browns.
Talking some football, NFL, Cleveland Browns with Nick Shook, NFL.com, at the Nick Shook on X. Check him out, give him a follow. So you mentioned the first 8 weeks are an absolute terror. I can see them, Nick, going 1-7 without any issue at all. If you're 1-7, 2-8 after 10, that means you're probably going to be in the 3, maybe the 4-win category. At some point, I hate to even bring this up because of unknowns, but do they start talking in the office, say, hey, there's a good possibility Arch Manning's going to be coming out. Let's just line our cards up and let's maybe try to head in that direction. Does that discussion even go on or no?
Oh, I mean, they'll never admit to it, but I'm sure it does.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay.
Conversation. Less savory things are discussed in NFL offices, trust me, in club offices. I promise you that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd never admit to it publicly, but hell, they did that last year, to be frank. I mean, the way that they, rolled out Bailey Zappi and the rotation of quarterbacks they have with DTR and Jameis Winston and everything else, like they essentially said, hey, you know what? We're going to actually choose to be bad because the season's not really going anywhere. And they climbed up the draft ranking because of it, and they ended up recouping a future first rounder in the process by trading out a number 2. So, yeah, I mean, that's why you get the ammunition with the 2 first-round picks next year to set yourself up with the highest chance of getting a guy like that. Now, you do worry that the Manning family, which once famously prevented Eli Manning from going to the Chargers and orchestrated, him heading up to the Giants, would do something similar with Arch, who doesn't have to go to the draft. He could still go back to college after next year, too. And we're in the NIL era where guys are making money. I mean, just look at Shedeur. He's taking a pay cut to play in the NFL this year because he was drafted in the 5th round. So it's not a guarantee. And I think that would dissuade you at least a little bit from fully committing to that. But you have to set yourself up with the best chance of success when it comes to, how good of a prospect can we get in the draft. And so if you get to that situation, then yeah, and the justification for it on the surface could just be, well, we have 2 rookies who want to see what we have in them. And it's as simple as that, at least from a PR standpoint. And again, I think that this is why they may get, a longer leash from ownership too, because they understand the playing field that they're stepping onto this year and what, could be coming. We just saw Washington completely turn around the franchise with Jaden Daniels. A lot of clubs now understand that if you get the guy at quarterback and he plays well quickly, then you can completely reverse your fortunes. You just need to be in position to take that guy. It's got to be the right year for, draft strength, and you got to be in a high enough spot. So I'm sure that's definitely on the table. I'm sure that's a scenario. You're not coaching to lose, but if you get to that situation, I could totally see that happening.
Nick Shook is our guest on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN, NFL.com, at the Nick Shook on X. Speaking of conversations that we probably know are happening, maybe, I know there's a relationship there with the Haslams and the Mannings and going back to Tennessee and this and that and the other. Could that possibly play into maybe what could happen down the road, is trying to work things a certain way to where, I mean, if you're the Browns and you know for a fact that Arch is going to come out, wouldn't that kind of escalate that process a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that connection makes a ton of logical sense. In fact, I had not really thought about that until you just brought it up, and it's a great point. How deeply rooted they are in Tennessee, and Peyton Manning's a legend there. Jimmy's brother was the governor of Tennessee. I mean, there's tons of connections there. So yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Now, this is Peyton's nephew, but there's, deep roots among the Manning family and everything else with that. So yeah, that would probably improve the chances of him wanting to play. But I do think it comes down to the situation. If there's one family that has really not manipulated, but strategically guided the career of a prospect more, I don't know if I would say with more control or just closely than the average guy, save for Caleb Williams' dad trying to avoid the Bears. It's the Manning family, and it's what they've done with Arch, who, they kept his recruitment very private. They had a lot of control over the attention he got coming out of high school. They got a lot of control over, everything with him in college. He was famously last year, like one of the only players to not opt into the college football game until right before the game came out. And so that's another example, the video game, that, they take every part of his career and his earning potential and everything else very seriously. And this would certainly affect that. So I wouldn't put anything past them because of that, but also that that connection with Tennessee definitely makes a lot of sense.
Nick Shook is our guest from NFL.com. It's Nick Shook at the Nick Shook on X. Check him out. One more on the Brownies, and we'll do a quick NFL landscape before we let you roll. And I really appreciate you coming on today, man. The stadium thing. I don't know how close you're kind of hovering over that situation between the renovation, possibly downtown, which looks like it's not going to happen, building the stadium, the Dome Stadium in Brook Park, which I thought was a lock. Now I'm not so sure. What are you seeing and what are you hearing about that whole situation?
Yeah, it's as soon as it became clear that they were going to try to get some funding from the state, because that Brook Park is in Cuyahoga County.
Right.
Cleveland is in Cuyahoga County. You have no supporters from Cuyahoga County, so you're not getting county money. Cleveland is obviously fighting a court battle over this, the city itself, to keep them in the city. And Brook Park is not a very big town, so it's not like they have a huge tax base to work with. So then they turn to the state. Well, the state also has the Cincinnati Bengals down there who, oh, by the way, could use money to improve their facility. They have notoriously been, on the, I don't know if I would say cheaper side, but they've been a little more frugal with their spending when it comes to facilities over the last 25 years. They only just recently constructed an indoor facility. So you're going to be in for quite a battle. Now, the NFL has tried to put their full might behind, campaigning for the state to give the Browns money to build this stadium because they know it makes the NFL stronger as a whole. And I understand that. But from a fan perspective, from somebody who grew up here and lives in Cleveland and understands the importance of the Browns to downtown, you would hope that they would work something out along the lake. I was looking at pictures from the Cleveland Marathon last weekend, and somebody was running with a sign that said, "Keep the Browns downtown."
Right.
I totally understand that sentiment because from August to December, that is what drives a lot of the commerce, especially on the weekend. It's a holiday every Brown Sunday down there, no matter whether they're good or bad. And you take that out of the city, it takes a lot of the life out of the city in those months, especially as the weather turns. I just don't think it's good for the city as a whole, especially as downtown continues to develop. You have the Sherwin-Williams building almost complete now.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a ton of renovations of old office buildings into apartment buildings. Residency, in terms of total residents downtown, continues to boom year over year. As a former downtown resident myself, I know the sports teams are a vital part of the downtown economy and really just the lifeblood of the city in itself. I was just at a Guardians game yesterday and seeing people out and about at bars and restaurants before and after. It's a big part of what the city's built on. And so to remove that from downtown and send them to the suburbs, wouldn't be good overall for, I guess, the city. Now, it's advertised as you can drive in, you can park here, you got the multi-use area, we can do shops and apartments and everything else all around here, and it'd be great, and it's right next to the airport, and that's all fine and dandy. But the people I've talked to, not a lot of people are very excited about driving to the suburbs for Browns football, and I understand that, given that they've always been downtown. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Yeah, I do. I think it's going to continue to be a battle, but the way that the Browns and the city have not been on the same page, and it's gotten a little bit nasty on the PR front with how they'd like to redevelop the stadium, and the Browns are on the same page as them and everything else. And, there's battles politically between, boards that support the Browns move to Brook Park and are supposed to be, allies with the city and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting pretty nasty. So I don't think that this happens quickly. And I think it's going to be a protracted battle. And I don't know which direction it goes, but if I had to pick one, it's probably the Brook Park project because it's better for the NFL, even if it's not the best thing for the city.
Yep, I think you're 100% correct, and I think it's going to be a long, drawn-out battle. One quick one here before we roll. Sounds like that Aaron Rodgers is going to make his mind up and become a Pittsburgh Steeler. What do you think? When does that decision come?
Well, I just wrote my 900th post on is Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh. Here's the latest update from Steelers teammates who are waiting for him to join the Steelers. So the wait continues. It's about to be June. I've been doing this for months now, and leave it to a 41-year-old quarterback who has a documentary titled Enigma about him to make everybody wait. Yep. I don't know why he's waiting. I don't know if he can't decide whether he wants to play or not, or if he just likes the attention. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe he's doing the Michael Strahan. I don't want to come to training camp. That's not really fine for a quarterback with a new offense, but I don't want to go to OTAs and mandatory minicamp, so I'm going to wait until after the sign. Maybe that's what it is. Good. Take your vacation. I would love that long of a vacation. I understand. But I would appreciate it if a decision would come before long because we're all tired of talking about it. Having said that, I do think that if he plays, it's going to be with the Steelers. And I think the Steelers have basically signed up for it because if you look at the roster, it's Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard. So there's a big missing fourth chair at the top of that depth chart, and that's reserved for one guy. His name's Aaron Rodgers, and I think he will play for the Steelers. How does that pan out for them this year? I don't know, because he played fairly well down the stretch with the Jets, but it's a new situation. He is 41 years old. Their offensive line did get a lot better, and they have enough talent at receiver to make it work. So we'll see, but I do expect him to play for them, and then we'll see how good they are with him.
We will see. Nick, it was great to catch up with you today. We may bother you one more time before it really heats up. Appreciate your time and all the best, and keep grinding, brother. You're doing a great job.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Sam. I appreciate it.
You got it. Nick Shook, NFL.com, our guest here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Just a couple of quick stats on Rodgers before we go to break. Last year, Rodgers, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions with the New York Jets. They went 5-12. Then the Jets said, you know what? We're going to sign Justin Fields. And then Aaron Rodgers decided, that the Jets would let him walk. So that's where we're at there. Thanks to Nick Shook for joining us here on the program. Sounds like he believes it's going to be, which I think we all believe it's going to be, a long, in the trenches, drawn-out fight between the city of Cleveland, the Haslams, Cuyahoga County, the city of Cleveland. I would not be surprised if this thing bleeds over the next several months. Now, the lease is up in what? 28, I believe. So you got a little bit of time, but you don't have a lot of time if you want to start planning, put the shovel in the ground, all that kind of stuff. So that'll be interesting. But Cleveland Browns, for some reason, always staying in the news, good or bad. All right, news and weather coming up here at the top of the hour. We've got 2 more big hours to go. Lots to get to here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. 1310 WDPN, streaming live at AM1310WDPN.com.
The latest news and the current Alliance area weather forecast are up next on AM 1310 WDPN Alliance.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. This assessment about the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs in New York, mentioning abuse of his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and attorney Ariva Martin to ABC News.
It is really damning testimony against Sean Combs. When you look at the number of witnesses that have come into that courtroom that have corroborated violence that was perpetrated against Cassie and others, really compelling testimony for the prosecution.
In a reversal from what he told a Senate committee, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has removed COVID vaccines from recommended shots for healthy children and pregnant women. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton.
When you look at the data, over 70% of people have at least one health condition that increases their risk for a worse outcome with COVID-19.
Despite what aid groups say, operations getting food to people in Gaza have succeeded, says State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce, calling reports of violence gossip. This is ABC News.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
If you have a lot of shopping to do for summer, then you're actually in luck. Because at Macy's, the latest designer trends are here now. From swim and sandals to match sets and linen suits, all for 20% off. But get this, spend $100 and get 25% off. Spend $200 and get 30% off. 30%. So the bigger your summer, the better. Because the more you buy, the more you save. But hurry, it all starts Thursday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Now, the latest Alliance area news from Jeff Mears on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 4:02. Stark County's jobless rate takes a slight dip. April unemployment was 5.2%, down from March's figure of 5.6. According to Ohio Job and Family Services, it was 4.5% in April 2024. Carroll County's unemployment declined to 5.5%, while Columbiana County's fell to 5.3%. In Mahoning County, the jobless figure dropped to 5.7%. Portage County's dipped to 5%. Unemployment across Ohio rose to 4.9%. The Summit County Sheriff's Office and Summit Metro Crash Team are investigating a fatal accident at the Memorial Day Parade in Greene. A 13-year-old boy, later identified as Matthew Schultz, was reportedly riding on a trailer being pulled by a pickup truck. The North Canton City Schools student fell from the front of the trailer and was struck by the dual tires of the trailer. He was later pronounced dead at Akron Children's Hospital. A Canton man is sentenced on charges of burglary and tampering with evidence. 31-year-old William Jacquet was seen November 11th on security video entering the garage of an East Liverpool home, stealing multiple items and fleeing in a vehicle. He was arrested a short time later by state troopers who pulled the vehicle over and found the items and drug paraphernalia inside. Jacquet was given a sentence of 4 to 6 years in prison. A woman was killed in a Summit County crash early Saturday. Highway Patrol says the 18-year-old from Akron was a passenger in a car that was southbound on Maslin Road in Springfield Township. The vehicle reportedly left the road, hit a guardrail and utility pole, and overturned. Isabel Grubas suffered fatal injuries. The 22-year-old driver from Hartville was taken to Akron City Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Alcohol and/or drugs appear to be a factor in the wreck. The patrol says neither person was wearing a seatbelt. A man apprehended in a sex sting in Salem is scheduled to return to court for a pretrial hearing August 11th. 31-year-old Tyler Garner of Egg Harbor, New Jersey, allegedly responded to an ad on a known prostitution website. He was arrested by agents with the Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force after he showed up at a prearranged meeting location Sunday. Garner pleaded not guilty during his arraignment today in Columbiana County Municipal Court. He's charged with engaging in prostitution and possession of criminal tools. Garner is being held on $1,500 bond. 3 days in jail is the sentence issued to Columbiana County Democratic Party Chairman Charlie Kidder. He was handed the punishment Friday in Columbiana County Municipal Court. Kidder pleaded guilty to a count of OVI. Another count was dropped. He was given 180 days in jail with all but 6 days suspended and credit for 3 days served. Kidder also was ordered to pay a $375 fine and perform 10 hours of community service. His license was suspended for 1 year with driving privileges granted. Kidder was arrested on North Market Street in Lisbon on March 6th. His blood alcohol level was reported as 0.158. Mahoning County probate judge Robert Rusu is expected to approve a settlement of a wrongful death lawsuit stemming from last year's Realty Tower explosion. The family of Akil Drake sued Yo Properties 47, LY Property Management, and other parties for their alleged roles in the May 2024 natural gas explosion. He died in the blast, which occurred in downtown Youngstown. Under the settlement, the family will be paid a total of $6.1 million. After attorney fees, they will receive $3.1 million. An explosion that heavily damaged a car on Youngstown's west side is the focus of an investigation by the city's police bomb squad and arson investigators. Firefighters responded to the 600 block of North Hartford Avenue around 9 a.m. today. WKBN TV reports the vehicle's owner said he heard a loud blast early today, but could not provide a more specific time. They found a car with damage to the rear corner of the passenger side and debris in street and neighboring yard. No one was hurt. A Youngstown man is being sought for violating parole. 32-year-old Jamel Smith is wanted by U.S. Marshals and the Ohio Adult Parole Authority. He pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and other charges in the November 2012 killing of O'Neill Williams of Detroit. Smith was sentenced to 10 years behind bars. He is described as being black, 6'2", and about 200 pounds. Authorities say Smith is known to frequent the Youngstown area, along with Cuyahoga and Summit counties. A reward is being offered for information that leads to his arrest. A Youngstown man charged with waving a machete at a visitor to his apartment has been ruled incompetent to stand trial. Mahoning County Common Pleas Judge Anthony D'Onofrio also ruled the competency of 61-year-old David Wright cannot be restored. The victim told police he mistakenly knocked on the door of a Wood Street apartment August 31st. He said the man inside told him he had the wrong apartment. As the victim was moving on, he said Wright came out and swung the weapon at him. The victim said he defended himself with a set of his own nunchucks. The ruling to drop the charges came last week. Wright had been charged with felonious assault. A man faces up to 3 years in prison for failing to report 3 years' worth of business earnings to the IRS. 36-year-old Sidney Glover of Warren pleaded guilty to federal charges of making and subscribing false tax returns. The IRS determined Glover did not file tax returns for 2015 and 2016 until April 2018. He also filed for 2017 at that time. Glover was the owner of Teaching Excellence, which provided home health care services to the disabled. The company generated more than $1 million in gross receipts for the 3 years combined. None of it credit was reported in Glover's filings. He reportedly spent some of the earnings on personal expenses. A sentencing date has not been scheduled. It's 65 degrees in Alliance at 4:07. This is the local edition of WDPN News. The forecast is next, a service of Canterbury Villa of Alliance. I'm Jeff Mears.
Send your loved ones to a place that cares and a place that they can trust. They'll find a place that feels like home at Canterbury Villa in Alliance. They will provide the highest level of care to their residents when it comes to skilled nursing, rehabilitation, long-term care, and Alzheimer's care. At Canterbury Villa, your loved ones become family. Located on Freshley Avenue, schedule a free visit today by calling 330-821-4000 and ask for Samantha Nutter. At Canterbury Villa, they walk the talk.
Now, the Alliance Area Weather Forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
Cloudy skies with a chance of showers for what's left of your Tuesday afternoon, a high near 69. Showers also likely for the overnight, cloudy and cool with a low around 51. A possibility of showers and thunderstorms for your Wednesday afternoon with highs reaching 62. That's your AM 1310 WDPN weather.
Music and intelligence for your life.
No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
I'm John Tesh, and we couldn't be happier about bringing you intelligence for your life every day. We have a room full of researchers gathering the information and ideas you need to make your life simpler and better, and to make you the smartest person in the room. Join me for Music and Intelligence for Your Life, 10 to 3, Monday through Saturday, only on AM 1310 WDPN.
You heard it on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-498-2098 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-498-2098 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-498-2098 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Live from the AM 1310 WDPN studio, it's time for live and local sports talk. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
I'm ready.
Give the show a call at 330-821-1310.
Good call, meatball.
Watch the Sam Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Edwards. Bank shot no good. Rebound Gilgeous-Alexander holds it, throws it down the court, goes out of bounds. Throws it inside, deflected from Williams, and that's it. It's over.
He's got his weight back. Now he's trying to get his baseball weight and strength back.
3-2 pitch hit on the ground to third. Long throw for Ramirez. On the money.
Oh, boy, what a play.
Ohtani climbs in. Williams has one that he likes. And off we go with Ohtani blasting the ball. Way gone. One pitch, one swing, one run.
Attempting to stave off elimination tonight. Here's Stan Coleman. Stan Coleman in with a shot. Score! The Hurricanes take their first lead of the series.
Little baseball there for you. Little hockey. A little basketball. We got you covered here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Welcome back, everybody. AM 1310 WDPN. And, of course, you can listen to us on the stream at AM1310WDPN.com. You can listen to the WDPN X page, the Facebook page. You can watch it right now. It's up there. I was just checking to make sure everything's all a go. You can also listen and watch our program Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. on the Q92 Radio Facebook page and the Q92 Radio YouTube channel. So check us out. Spread the good word. And don't forget to hit us up on all of our social media platforms between Facebook, X, Instagram, at 1310 WDPN. Drop us a comment, like it, share it, follow it, and spread the word about the good stuff we've got going on here. Thanks to NFL.com's Nick Shook for talking some Browns and a little NFL earlier in the program. Coming up tonight, Game 2 of the series between the Guardians and the Dodgers up in Cleveland. That's a 6:40 first pitch tonight. Guardians falling last night by the score of 7-2. And you heard in our audio open of the program, again, Gavin Williams serves up a first pitch home run to start the game. You could not have taken that baseball, put it on a plate, seasoned it, served it with a knife and fork in a bib, and put it in the lap of Shohei Ohtani anymore. What are we doing? That's the third time this year. I think it's the third time Gavin Williams has coughed up a home run on the very first pitch from the very first batter of the game. You can't do that with Joe Jones, let alone Shohei Ohtani. Here you go, Shohei. Here you go. Pew. That thing was a missile. It was a missile. You talk about, I was talking to Mark O'Brien, one of our extraordinary salespeople here in the radio station. I said, that had the look of like when the Houston Astros would bang on trash cans to their batters to let them know if it was going to be a fastball, a curve, a changeup, or something. Like Shohei Ohtani, how do you lay one in there like that? That was like an 86 mile an hour batting practice. Go ahead, hit it as far as you can. That was to start the game. Guardians, Dodgers, sellout crowd yesterday, almost 35,000. And you come out there and you give up one. You give up one like that. I don't get it. All right, for the Guardians tonight, just got the starting lineups here. Stephen Kwan will lead off and play left field. Bo Naylor is going to bat second tonight and catch. Hosey will be at third base and bat third. Kyle Manzardo will be the designated hitter. Carlos Santana at first. Daniel Schneemann at second. Gabby Arias at shortstop. Nolan Jones, going to roll him out there again. Right field batting eighth. And Angel Martinez batting ninth. He will play center field. Tanner Bybee on the bump tonight for the Guards. That's the 6:10 first pitch tonight. Cleveland and the Dodgers up at Progressive Field. Taking a look at the standings for the American League right now. Guardians, 29-24. They are exactly 5 games behind Detroit. Not horrible. Not horrible. The Los Angeles Dodgers out west, by the way, 33-21. They are 2 games in front of the Padres and 2 games in front of the San Francisco Giants. The one thing that the Dodgers do well, they play well on the road. They're 14-13 on the road. Guardians, meanwhile, at home are an even Steven 500, 15-15. So the Guards in a murderous stretch. Remember last week you had the Twins. You had all that goofy weather. Okay, so you got most of your series in there. And we all thought, oh boy, if you go to Detroit and get blitzed, you're going to be 10 games out when you come home. Well, so what did they do? What did they do? They do what the Guardians do. And they went to Detroit and they almost swept the Tigers. They took 3 out of 4, okay? So then they come back home to play the Dodgers last night. Today, tomorrow. Tomorrow's a 1:10 first pitch. And then the Angels come in, and that will wrap up the homestand for the Guardians, and that'll pretty much wrap up the month of May. So before the Detroit series started, I had said, even though it was very early, even though it's baseball, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We were barely past the quarter pole of the season. And I said it on this show. I said, if you go to Detroit and you get spanked and you get swept and you're going to be 10 games out when you come home to play the Dodgers, you're going to be in big trouble. Because that could have very well lingered. Obviously, the Dodgers won the opener yesterday, but then you're looking at if Detroit keeps hot, then you'd be 11 games out. You get where I'm going here. But that didn't happen. They took 3 out of 4 from Detroit. All they lost was the Sunday game. They got on a plane and came back home. So they avoided some craziness there. When you're still hanging around, 5 games or less behind the division leader here at the end of May, you're still doing okay. You've played, let's see here, 40. You've played 53 games. Okay, so a little bit more than a quarter, and you're only 5 out. Now you're tied with Minnesota, and here come the Royals, only 6 back. So Detroit, Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City are all there. They're all bunched up. Tigers with the lead, but then only a game separating 3 teams, Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City. And again, I know it's only the end of May. But aren't you happy the Guardians are only 5 out as opposed to 10 or 11, which they could have been? Makes it a little more palatable, don't you think? I kind of thought Kansas City would kind of fall off here a little bit. Remember they had 2 pitchers go on the disabled list? Seth Lugo being one of them. I thought, well, that's going to hurt them. Yeah, they're kind of treading water. Minnesota, remember they ripped off that 13-game win streak? They've kind of cooled off a little bit. They've lost their last 2, but still, they're right there. So it's the Tigers up here, and you go down a couple of notches. That's Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City, all kind of duking it out right now. I just don't know, as I just rattled off that lineup for you tonight. Did that Guardians starting lineup at the plate, did that strike the fear of God into anybody? But somehow, some way, they figure out a way to stay in these games. Whether it's the guards ball, just putting runs together, getting hits together, little hit and run, little pass ball, sacrifice fly, wild pitch, stolen base, that kind of deal. This is not the kind of, by the way, Hunter Gaddis has been called up, and Joey Cantillo has been optioned down to Columbus. I wanted to let y'all know that as well. But that lineup that I just read, eek. Okay, Quan, good. Bo Naylor, not so good. Jose Ramirez, Hall of Fame. Kyle Manzardo, Carlos Santana, better than expected. Daniel Schneemann, up and down. Gabby Arias, up and down. Nolan Jones, Invisible Man. Angel Martinez, up and down. I don't care what major league team you are. You look at that lineup and go, okay, if we can get Quan and Ramirez out, we're good. If we can get 2 out of those guys out, we're good. And you know what? The biggest thing for me tonight, it's not Bo Naylor. It's not Kyle Manzardo. It's not Daniel Schneemann. It's not Nolan Jones. It's the guy on the mound. It's Tanner Bybee. I need to see. Gosh, we've lowered our expectations so much for pitchers nowadays. Remember when 7 innings was a quality start? Then it was 6. Now it's like 5. And I know the LA Dodgers can roll it out there with the best of them. They've got hitting, they got power, they got speed, they got it everywhere. But I'm looking at Tanner Bybee tonight, and I'm saying, Tanner, you you really need to go out there and give me 6 strong innings. Like a good line tonight for Tanner would be 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, and a walk. Something like that. If you can keep it there, you might be able to get yourself a win tonight. But for the love of God, don't go out there and throw the first pitch right down the middle and let somebody whack it out of the yard. Or don't go out there and walk 6 people. Go out there and just give us a quality start, and we can rest some of these guys in the bullpen. That's all. Guardians 29-24, hosting the 33-21 LA Dodgers tonight at the 6:10. Is it 6:10? What's today? Tuesday?
Today is indeed Tuesday.
April, May, June. I think it's 6:10. I would have swore they were 6:40 starts by this time of the year. Maybe it's 6:10. No, it is 6:10. It's right in front of me. Okay. June, they'll go to 6:40 during the week, but 6:10 tonight. And then don't forget 1 o'clock, 1:10 first pitch tomorrow. Guards get a win tonight. Little Detroit loss. We're back within 4. We're feeling good before the matinee tomorrow. Our Sam Bourquin Show poll quiz question of the day. Which of these series is the best? A, Game of Thrones. B, Breaking Bad. C, The Wire. D, The Sopranos. Hit us up at 330-821-1310 or drop your comment. Take the quiz on all of our social media platforms. High school baseball tournament score today. Massillon 35. Euclid nothing. And that took 5 innings over at Carl Ducky Schroeder. I do want to pass this along, although it was an absolute blowout, a bludgeoning. The Tigers did have some pretty good pitching today. Matter of fact, they had a combined no-hitter from Drew Longwell and Braden Kramer. So congratulations to Drew and Braden combining on that no-hitter in the Tigers' big shutout win over Euclid earlier today. All right, we'll step out. 4:24 is your time. Phones are open. The text line is open. We'll be back after this on AM 1310 WDPN. It's the Sam Bourquin Show on your Tuesday.
Looking to launch a career in the skilled trades but don't know where to begin? Part-time service in the Ohio Army National Guard can help. You can kickstart your career by enlisting in one of our many trades-based jobs. Get paid to learn these skills and gain on-the-job training when you report to your unit 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks in the summer. To learn how the Guard can pay for your civilian trade certification, visit nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour, if you could find a way
to get inside each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Welcome back. Almost 27 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to the Sam Bourquin Show on this Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Again, thanks to all who came over and said hello and had a great time at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for their ribs burn off over the weekend. I thought the crowds were great I know Friday was rough. It was cold. It was damp. It was windy. But I know the crowds were really good on Saturday and Sunday. And again, shout out to our partners over at the Pro Football Hall of Fame for putting on a great ribs burn off here Memorial Day weekend of 2025. Thanks to Nick Shook, NFL.com, for joining us earlier in the program. Again, our Sam Bourquin poll question of the day: of these 4 series, which one is the best? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, or The Sopranos? Let us know at AM1310 WDPN on X. You can also take the quiz on Facebook as well. Let's update the X poll. Right now, Sopranos is coming in at 41%. Here comes Breaking Bad, 33%. Game of Thrones at 18%, and The Wire at 8%. Keep those votes coming in. The poll will be open for another 6 hours or so. Coming up a little bit later on today, on this day in sports history, I kind of mixed in one from yesterday. And I know we weren't all together yesterday because of the holiday, but I didn't want to let the opportunity pass. So what I've done is I've combined one on this day in sports history from May 26th of 1993. That might be a little hint. Baseball hint. Baseball bouncing off of somebody's head hint for a home run. I combined that with our on this day from May 27. That'll all be coming up here for you close to 5:30. If you missed it earlier today, Larry Taylor will be announced as the new head boys high school basketball coach at Coventry. We'll be looking to get Coach LT on maybe tomorrow or Thursday of this week. And want to shout out a former Glen Oak graduate and outstanding basketball player, Eric McCullum. Yeah, he is CJ McCullum's brother, and he won the European Championship yesterday as Eric's team knocked off Monaco by the score of 81-70. So shout out to Eric McCullum for getting some hardware there on the hardwood. News and weather coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We've got 90 more big hour. Yeah, 90 big hours to go. That'll be fun, won't it?
That could not be right, Sam.
Stay here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN.
The latest news and the current Alliance area weather forecast are up next on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 4:30. 65 people are injured and 11 hospitalized after a driver plowed into a crowd Monday during a victory parade in Liverpool for the city's soccer team. The incident is not being treated as terrorism. The driver has been arrested and is being held on attempted murder and other charges. ABC's Ian Pannell has more from Liverpool.
We now know from the police that around 60 people in all were injured in this incident. 50 were treated in hospital and around 11 still remain there, although the good news is that they're responding well to treatment. Still more questions from the police, still asking for more evidence, eyewitness testimony, as well as video evidence from the ground.
Chaos has erupted on the second day of aid operations by a new U.S.-backed group in Gaza. Palestinians overwhelmed a center distributing food today, breaking through fences. An Associated Press journalist heard tank and gunfire from nearby Israeli troops and saw a military helicopter firing flares. The Israeli military said its troops fired warning shots in the area outside the center to bring the situation under control. At least 3 injured Palestinians were being brought from the scene. The distribution hub outside Rafah had been opened the day before by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which has been slated by Israel to take over aid operations despite opposition from the UN and other humanitarian organizations. President Trump has hit the pause button on his threats of new tariffs on imports from Europe. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
The president is now relenting. Just for now, he is delaying that threat of a 50% tariff against the European Union, one of our largest trading partners. These massive tariffs were supposed to go into effect at the end of this week on June 1st, but instead he's now postponing them until July 9th following a phone call with the head of the European Commission.
Americans' views of the economy improved in May after 5 straight months of declines sent consumer confidence to the lowest level since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, largely driven by anxiety over the impact of President Trump's tariffs. The Conference Board said today that its consumer confidence index rose 12.3 points in May to 98, up from April's 85.7, its lowest reading since May 2020. A large elephant seal took a wrong turn and was seen lumbering along a street in South Africa today. It surprised residents and inspired a rescue effort to get the 2-ton creature back to sea. The seal was making his way through a suburb near Cape Town. Police and a local security company attempted to contain the animal by parking patrol cars around him, but he slipped through that. A team of marine wildlife specialists and a veterinarian sedated the seal and guided him into a trailer to be returned to his natural habitat at a nearby bay. It's 64 degrees in Alliance at 4:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Here's the latest forecast.
Q92.
Mostly cloudy skies with a shower in certain places this afternoon. Going to be a high around 71 for your Tuesday. Tonight, periods of rain, breezy this evening with a low going down to 52 degrees. That's a look at your forecast right here on today's hit music, Q92.
Are you ready to up your mealtime game with a beautiful new dining suite? How about your movie nights on the couch? Is more comfortable seating on your list this year? Maybe you just need a better night's rest. Whatever the case, when we spend time at home with our families, we all want quality, comfort, and names we can trust. That's why Grove's appliances, furniture sets, and even their mattresses make all the difference. With a beautiful showroom full of ideas and over 700 fabric choices for furniture, you'll be sure to find something that will fit beautifully into your home. On a budget, Grove has a scratch and dent room filled with appliances with minor aesthetic blemishes that can help you replace that fridge on the fritz for a fraction of the cost. Come and see why Grove is better than big box stores. Explore your options and get to know Grove's amazing staff and stellar service team to help with all of your needs.
Come see us at Grove, where it always feels like home.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org. A campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope your Tuesday is going well. Glad to have you. We're here with you 3 until 6, Monday through Friday, right here on 1310 WDPN. You can also listen and watch us. Make sure you do that now on the Q92 Radio Facebook page and the Q92 Radio YouTube channel and the WDPN X page and Facebook page as well. And you can also check me out on TikTok at Sam Bourquin 16 on TikTok. Every once in a while, we'll throw something up there you can take a look at as well. All right, we were going to get into the NBA here in a couple of minutes. We'll take a quick peek at last night's fantastic game between Oklahoma City and Minnesota. We'll look ahead to the Knicks and the Pacers as well. But last night, the Guards fell to the Dodgers 7-2. You know by now, Shohei, first pitch of the game, deep over the fence in right field. Dodgers went on to win that game 7-2. It was a very short, very precise postgame last night with Stephen Vogt. This audio courtesy of the Cleveland Guardians. And let's check out Stephen Vogt after the loss to the Dodgers last night at Progressive Field.
Strike zone. He gets outs, quick outs too. Just a lot of pitches, and the command was off. But we see this stuff. The stuff's there. The command, just the command. Uncharacteristically, you guys had, I know Gavin had the walks, but just overall, just what did you think of all the walks that you guys had? Yeah, it's not who we are. We pound the strike zone. It was an off night in that regard. It's a good team. They make you throw the ball over the plate, and we weren't able to do that very well tonight. Well, Jose extends his hit streak. Not so much about that, but just the pitch that he extends the streak with. You know, it's balling almost off his shoe tops. Just what does that say about just how he handles the bat? Jose's one of the best hitters on the planet. The adjustability, the ability to take any pitch at any time and get it out there. He's smart, calculated. He's a tough out.
You think Gavin, when those control problems come up, what do you think the root of that is?
You know, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a pitching guy, but you know, his delivery gets out of whack. But it's one of those things that just got to compete in the zone.
You see from Yamamoto, I talked on the game.
Yeah, he was living at the bottom. You know, when he throws that fastball at the bottom and the split off, that split finger is one of the best I've ever seen from the side. Kept the cutter in on the hands of the lefties, keeping him honest, landed some curveballs. He was good. I thought we had pretty good at bats off him. Just weren't able to string a whole lot together. This team battles, though. Our team battles. I mean, we were one base runner away from having the tying run up there in a game. It didn't seem like it was within reach. And credit to Joey. That was a great outing from Joey. 3 innings, quality innings. So we know we're right there. We gotta get those big hits. I know it probably doesn't show up in the box score, but just what does it say about Will Wilson? Just back-to-back days going against tough pitchers and showing up. Yeah, great at bats from Will. I mean, that was a perfect bunt. He recognized Freeman was crashing in, bunted it past him, almost got a hit with the bases loaded. So Will's a good baseball player. He's going to continue to get his opportunities, and you know, when they're there, and we know we can trust him to play great defense and take a good at bat. He did that tonight.
Just with the first pitch, home runs, the first pitch of the game. Obviously, it's not something you sort of want to have continue, but it's something you talk to him about.
Yeah, I haven't seen the replay of where the pitch was. Yeah, I mean, I think he missed his spot, but you know, we're always talking about those things. It's funny when somebody has 3 of them, you're going to talk about it, but I don't think there's anything there. I think it's just a circumstance.
Okay, that was audio from the CLE Guardians TV last night, and Voter was a little perturbed, a little short. I haven't heard him that way this year. And you can imagine, though, you go out there, you get every seat in the place is taken. It's Memorial Day. You're coming off taking 3 out of 4 from Detroit on the road. You're coming home. The Dodgers are in town. The first pitch of the game is a home run. You're walking guys all night. I would be a little perturbed too. I'd use another word, but I would be that too. So that was that may have been the quickest post game of the year last night, as the Guardians fell 7-2. Well, see if they can turn it around. That's the beautiful thing about baseball. You wash that one away. You go out there tonight. Tanner Bibee on the bump, 6-10 first pitch. The Guards and the Dodgers. All right, I want to flip away from baseball and get into the NBA playoffs. Last night we got ourselves a game. Now, Minnesota and Oklahoma City, you know, a couple of stinkers to start the series off. OKC winning big. So it's 2-0. And who didn't see this coming? Game 3 in Minnesota, and the Timberwolves win it by almost 50. Like, how predictable was that? And I'm not even being facetious when I say that. That's just so typical NBA, right? So it's a 2-1, and now you're the Wolves. You got a chance to even it up last night. Great ball game, 128-20, 126 the final score. OKC wins it. They now take a 3-1 lead in that series. It was a real good ball game last night, especially the last 2 minutes. Little less than the last 2 minutes. Audio courtesy of TNT Television. If you missed it last night, here's the waning moments of that wild game between OKC and Minnesota, where the Thunder hold on for the big win on the road.
Gobert looking to help, taking his time, falling away. It's up. It's good. Single night. Gobert gets free, kicks it out. McDaniels a 3. That's good. Off the bounce. A lot of contact. They let it go. Inside Caruso. Layup. He banks it home. Tries again. Stops. Falls down. Gets it to Williams. Three-pointer. It's good. Edwards getting three. Back up top. McDaniels. McDaniels down a lane. Gets inside. Lays it in off 20 remaining. Edwards head down. Drives inside. Kicks it out. DiVincenzo another three. Got it. DiVincenzo harassing Williams. Williams on the drive. Pulls off. Difficult shot. Goes in. DiVincenzo back out McDaniels. Alexander Walker on the drive. Goes inside. Lays it up and in. 8 on the 24. Williams puts it in. McDaniels drives, goes inside, lays it up and in. Edwards to McDaniels. McDaniels on the drive to spin. The layup blocked by Holmgren. Dort couldn't get it. Alexander Walker. McDaniels three-pointer. Bang! Edwards back to DiVincenzo. Off the bounce, goes inside. Quickly can't get it to go. Gobert's follow. The second one's good. 1-point game. Gilgeous-Alexander has it. And quickly foul with 6 points. I like that you want to foul. I like that idea of fouling timeouts. Second one. Got it. 2. Throws it inside. Deflected from Williams, and that's it. It's over. Oklahoma City rebounds from a 42-point loss and takes a commanding 3-1 lead in this Western Conference final.
That was Mike Breen on the call, courtesy of, I said TNT, I apologize. They're doing the Eastern Conference Finals. That audio courtesy of ESPN and ABC. But yeah, wild 2 minutes last night. I mean, you really thought, I really thought for a second that the Timberwolves were going to win that game. And it was going to be 2-2 heading to a game 5 in OKC, but not happening. Thunder lead that best of 7 now. 3-1, and I believe, let me check the schedule here. They can close it out tomorrow night at home at 8:30. Vegas already has Oklahoma City as a 8.5-point favorite against Minnesota. So the experts believe that this series is most likely going to come to an end tomorrow. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers battle tonight. I think this is going to be good. The experts think it's going to be good. Indiana is only a 2.5-point favorite at home to the Knicks. Remember, Indiana took 2 from New York on the road, came home, had a chance to go up 3-0 in the series, blew a big lead, and the Knicks come back to win that game. Couple days go by. Now it's game 4. Indiana just a 2.5-point favorite. Something fishy there. Something fishy. I think they're begging you to take Indiana. They're begging you to bet the Pacers tonight. Be careful. Be careful. We've seen this movie before, right? 8 o'clock tip-off tonight. TNT, Knicks, Pacers, New York with a win could tie the series up at 2. And then it's a best of 3. And remember, 2 out of the next 3 are at Madison Square Garden. It may not matter, though. The Pacers, outstanding on the road. New York, outstanding on the road. Home court may not be as cracked up as it's much to be for this series. But I think tonight could be good. Could be good. We'll be talking about this one tomorrow. No question about it. The Indiana Pacers, and we saw what they were all about, right? As Cavs fans, we saw everything that they had. We saw the get out and run. We saw the great half-court defense. We saw a team that really never seemed to get tired. Like when our guys were kind of huffing and puffing, Indiana looked like they had just had a can of Monster Cola, okay? They were ready to go. And every time you thought, okay, the Cavs were going to make a move, pull away a little bit more or climb back into something, the Pacers would blitz them. They'd cause a couple turnovers in a row. They hit a couple threes. They get a couple transition buckets. And pretty soon it's a 10-point game. So we've seen what this Indiana team is all about. We've seen how Rick Carlisle gets and squeezes everything he can out of this Indiana team. Now you go over to the New York Knicks side and you see Tom Thibodeau, who coaches hard. This guy coaches regular season games more often than not like a postseason game. But somehow they get away with that while the Cavaliers do not. It seems like the Cavs played every regular season game like it was a Game 7. But then when it really mattered, they couldn't get it done. They were whipped. They were out of gas. Yeah, I know they were hurt, but they were out of gas. This New York Knicks team, Tibbs coaches them hard. Starters play a lot of minutes, but they seem to relish that. Like Karl Anthony Towns, if Jalen Brunson could ever learn to quit fouling, he might be out on the floor another 8 to 12 minutes. He can't stop fouling all the time. I think this baby is ticketed for 7 games. I really believe it, and I almost thought that before the series started, but then the Pacers went to New York and they stole 2. I thought, well, okay, so much for that. Knicks get 1 tonight. We're tied. It's a best of 3. I think this thing's going to go 7. I love watching this series. Yes, I wish the Cavs were in it. No doubt about it. But they're not. And one thing that I have learned over watching the NBA playoffs since the Cavaliers were bounced out, and I put this on X last night. I may have put it on Facebook. I don't remember. But my post was, I've watched every single NBA conference finals, and I've learned one thing. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a lot further away from winning a championship than I thought. And I would say probably 70% of the people agreed with me. 30 said, nah, you're crazy. They were hurt. It's a process. They're 1 guy away. Okay, that's fine. I'll listen to that argument. I don't believe it, but I'll listen to it. But just watch these games. If you're dialed into the NBA postseason, and I don't care if you're watching the fourth quarter or you're watching the last 2 minutes of the first half, whether it's OKC, Mini, or if it's Indiana and New York. Just focus in and watch. Watch what goes on in the paint. Watch what goes on in the corners when somebody gets trapped in the corner. Watch what happens when somebody tries to break out and get the ball to the other end of the floor. There's always a little bit of resistance there, right? Sometimes it looks like it's 7-on-7 because there's bodies moving all the time, everywhere on the floor, instead of 5-on-5. I swear to you, it looked like there was 14 guys out there in that Indiana-New York game in Game 3. But just watch these playoff games, and you tell me that the Cleveland Cavaliers, as constructed, are anywhere close to these teams and could beat them in the East to get to the NBA Finals. And then tell me that they could beat an OKC or even a Denver if the Nuggets would have happened to get there. And I know there's some other teams too. But I'm sorry, I just don't see this Cavaliers team as constructed right now as a championship caliber team. I don't. I'm not dissing anybody on the team. I'm not dissing the coaching staff. I might take a little swing at the front office. But you got to get some guys in there that are hungry. You got to get some guys in there that are not just experienced, but throw a little fear into the opponent. You got to get a guy or guys in there who are not only going to be great locker room guys, but they're not afraid to tell somebody, hey, what are you doing? Hey, why didn't you get that rebound? What are you doing over there? How did that happen? Hey, concentrate on that free throw. Hey, this guy was wide open. You're putting your head down and dribbling around. We need a guy or two like that to mesh with what we have for this to be a championship caliber team. And when I say championship caliber, I mean a team that's going to win the whole damn thing. I'm not interested in any more second round exits. Okay? We've done that. We've been there, done that. Like, well, I don't know, last 2 years? Knicks took us out the year before that. I think we're a ways away. You're going to need a little zest. You're going to need a little sizzle, a little pop. Now, look, not my job to go get these guys. It's not my job to figure out the salary cap. It's not me. It's not my job. That's Kobe Altman's job. That's the Cleveland Cavaliers' job. But they better figure out somehow, some way to take the next step or steps as far as acquiring people to get on that team to make you a legitimate NBA championship contender. I know it takes time. I know they were hurt. Even 100% health, I don't think they've got enough inside. And when I say they don't have enough inside, I mean inside their soul. I don't think they got enough. I know they don't have enough. They got to figure that out. 6 minutes till the top of the hour. We'll take a break. Phones are open, 330-821-1310. You can always text the program at 330-924-7088. It's the Sam Bourquin Show. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on 1310 WDPN and, of course, the Q92 Radio Facebook page and YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Get on board. The water is open. It's time to go boating and fishing and leave stress in our wake. Feel the wind as we ride and a fish on the line. Reel in our first catch and feel the sun at our backs. It's get out on the water season. It's time to get on board. Find out where to get on board near you. Visit Take Me Fishing and Discover Boating to learn more. And please recreate responsibly. Get on board. Get on board.
At YMCA Summer Camp, kids find their why. Friendship and fun, a world of adventure beneath a golden sun. Running, laughing, full of wonder. Being themselves is second nature. Summer camp is where they begin to unlock the confidence that lies within. When kids find new passions, they find their why. Summer camp season starts soon. Learn more at ymca.org for a better us.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Telephone lines are open, 330-821-1310. That's 330-821-1310. You can text the show as well anytime on the WDPN text line, 330-924-7088. 8. Coming up at around 5:27 today, another outstanding edition of On This Day in Sports History. I want to thank Nick Shook from NFL.com for joining us in the 3 o'clock hour today. Got tomorrow we're halfway through the week already. Got some good stuff planned for you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So keep it here. 1310 WDPN, the Sam Bourquin Show. And don't forget, go to Facebook. Matter of fact, go there right now if you can. Not if you're driving. But if you got your phone, you're on your computer, you're kind of sitting around, whatever, go to Facebook and just type in AM 1310 WDPN. Go to our Facebook page and give it a like, give it a follow, maybe even give it a share. We certainly would appreciate that. And when you're done there, type in Q92 Sports on Facebook and go there and like it and share it and follow it. And again, we certainly would appreciate that. We've got some great things coming up down the road, especially once high school football starts. But we'll be doing a lot of great stuff with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That'll lead us into the beginning of the NFL season, the college football season, of course, with our outstanding coverage on 1310 of the Mount Union Purple Raider football team. And then the big college guys get rolling. Then the NFL gets going. And then pretty soon we're going boom, 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 boom. So make sure you are following, liking, and sharing all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, you name it, we'll be there. Just type in 1310 WDPN and Q92 Sports, and you will be glad you did. And again, we certainly do appreciate that. All right, we understand our man Buck from Louisville's got a little text over there, or a little tweet, a little something.
He does have a text for you. He's asking you to keep an eye out on this scenario. He says, with the passion of Jim Irsay last week, bet there's a good chance Peyton Manning will have his hands in some ownership or other promising leadership role of the Colts. He says they will tank the 26th season, and with the first pick of the 2027 draft, the Indianapolis Colts will take Arch Manning.
Buck, I see you. I see you sizzling over there, Buck. Hey, I'm not going to poo-poo that thought at all. Not at all. You're right. With Mr. Irsay passing last week, I mean, look, I don't know what Peyton wants to do. Peyton can do whatever Peyton wants to do, but I would not throw that theory under the bus at all. I would not throw that theory under the bus at all. All right, news and weather coming up here at the top of the hour. We've got one more big hour to go. We'll get back into the Guards and the Dodgers a little bit, talk a little NBA. We'll check the high school baseball tournament scoreboard. A wild score between Maslin and Euclid. We'll tell you all about that. We got On This Day in Sports History and our poll question of the day. All coming up. Stay with us. The news is next.
An important part of the Alliance community since 1953. You're listening to AM 1310, WDPN Alliance.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Major U.S. stock indexes closing hundreds of points higher. Consumer confidence jumped for the first time in 5 months, says a Conference Board survey. Wall Street also reacting to President Trump delaying tariffs on European imports to July. ABC's Karen Travers at the White House.
President making it very clear if there's no deal by then, that tariff threat of 50% is still very much on the table.
At the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs in New York, jurors have been hearing from a former assistant of Combs, Capricorn Clark, who says she was forced at gunpoint to help Combs in acts of violence against ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura's boyfriend. In a reversal from what he said at his Senate confirmation hearing, Health Secretary RFK Jr. removed COVID vaccines from recommended shots for healthy children and pregnant women. Despite what aid groups say is chaos, operations getting food to people in Gaza have succeeded, says State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce. This is ABC News.
If you have a lot of shopping to do for summer, then you're actually in luck. Because at Macy's, the latest designer trends are here now. From swim and sandals to match sets and linen suits, all for 20% off. But get this, spend $100 and get 25% off. Spend $200 and get 30% off. 30%. So the bigger your summer, the better. Because the more you buy, the more you save. But hurry, it all starts Thursday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay is my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items.
Now, the latest Alliance area news from Jeff Mears on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 5:02. Unemployment is down slightly in Stark County. Ohio Job and Family Services reports the April jobless rate was 5.2%. It was 5.6 the previous month and 4.5 in April 2024. In Carroll County, unemployment dipped to 5.5%. It was down to 5.3 in Columbiana County and dipped to 5.7% in Mahoning County. Portage County's rate fell to 5%. Ohio's figure increased to 4.9. A 13-year-old boy died from injuries suffered in the Green Memorial Day Parade. The Summit County Sheriff's Office and Summit Metro Crash Team are investigating the Monday incident. The boy, identified as Matthew Schultz, reportedly was riding on a trailer pulled by a pickup truck when he fell from the front of the trailer and was struck by the dual tires of the trailer. Schultz was later pronounced dead at Akron Children's Hospital. He was a student in the North Canton School District. A sentence of at least 4 years for a Canton man found guilty of burglary and tampering with evidence. 31-year-old William Jacquet was reportedly seen on security video November 11th, entering the garage of an East Liverpool home, stealing multiple items and fleeing in a vehicle. The car was later pulled over by the highway patrol and the items were found, along with a piece of drug paraphernalia. Jacquet's sentence could be as long as 6 years. A one-vehicle crash in Summit County took the life of an Akron woman. The highway patrol says a car driven by a 22-year-old Hartville man was south on Maslin Road in Springfield Township early Saturday. The car went off the road, hit a guardrail and utility pole, and overturned. 18-year-old passenger Isabel Grubaud died in the crash. The driver was taken to Akron City Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Neither person was wearing a seatbelt. The patrol says alcohol and/or drugs appeared to be a factor in the crash. A New Jersey man arrested in a weekend sex sting in Salem has appeared in court. 31-year-old Tyler Garner of Egg Harbor was arraigned today in Columbiana County Municipal Court on charges of engaging in prostitution and possession of criminal tools. He pleaded not guilty. Garner is scheduled to return for a pretrial hearing August 11th. He allegedly responded to an ad on a known prostitution website. Agents with the Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force arrested him Sunday after he showed up at a prearranged meeting location. Columbiana County Democratic Party Chairman Charlie Kidder has learned his punishment for driving drunk. He was sentenced Friday in Columbiana County Municipal Court to 180 days in the county jail, with all but 6 days suspended. Kidder was given credit for 3 days served. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of OVI. Another count was dismissed. Kidder was pulled over on the night of March 6th on North Market Street in Lisbon. His blood alcohol level was 0.158. Kidder also was ordered to pay a $375 fine and perform 10 hours of community service. His license was suspended for 1 year with driving privileges granted. A man convicted of a 2012 killing is being sought by the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force. 32-year-old Jamel Smith of Youngstown is wanted for violating parole by U.S. Marshals and the Ohio Adult Parole Authority. He is described as black, 6'2", and about 200 pounds. Smith is known to frequent the Youngstown area as well as Cuyahoga and Summit counties. A reward is being offered for information that leads to an arrest. Smith pleaded guilty to killing O'Neill Williams of Detroit in November 2012 on Youngstown's east side. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Authorities are investigating after an overnight explosion that heavily damaged a car in Youngstown. The vehicle's owner said he heard a loud blast early today, but could not provide a more specific time. WKBN-TV reports the fire department was called to the 600 block of North Hartford Avenue on the city's west side around 9 a.m. They found a car with damage to the rear corner of the passenger side and debris in the street and neighboring yard. There were no injuries. The investigation includes Youngstown arson investigators and the police department's bomb squad. Details have been released about the settlement of a wrongful wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of a man killed in the Realty Tower explosion in Youngstown. The suit against Yo Properties 47, LY Property Management, and other parties was settled for a total of $6.1 million. Akil Drake's family will receive $3.6 million after attorney fees. He died in a natural gas explosion at the downtown building in May 2024. Mahoning County Probate Judge Robert Rusu is expected to approve the settlement July 17th. Free gun locks are being offered for Mahoning County residents. The locks will be available today and Thursday from 1 until 3 at the prosecutor's office on West Boardman Street in downtown Youngstown. The locks are being distributed by the prosecutor's office in partnership with the Mahoning County Sheriff's Office and County Mental Health and Recovery Board. The locks were provided by Project Child Safe and the Department of Veterans Affairs. A Warren man has pleaded guilty to federal charges. He failed to report more than $1 million in business earnings. The Justice Department says 36-year-old Sidney Glover entered the plea to making and subscribing false tax returns. He faces up to 3 years in prison. A sentencing date has not been scheduled. Glover was the owner of Teaching Excellence, a company that provided home health care services to the disabled. The IRS determined he did not file tax returns for 2015 and 2016 until April 2018. Glover also filed for 2017 at that time. Teaching Excellence generated more than $1 million in gross receipts for the 3 years combined. None of it was reported in Glover's filings. He reportedly spent some of the earnings on personal expenses. A Girard man is being held on $1 million bond on 2 counts of rape. 39-year-old Shane Janetta was charged in connection with an incident from 2017. He is a youth softball coach in Girard. It wasn't revealed why the charges were not filed for the previous 8 years. One of the 2 counts against Janetta is for a person under age 13, while the second is for alleged force or threat of force. Authorities say a Central Ohio sheriff's deputy who responded to a domestic violence call at a home was fatally shot by a suspect who was wounded. The Morrow County Sheriff's Office says the shooting in Marengo occurred Monday night. Sheriff John Hinton says 31-year-old Daniel Scherer was shot shortly after he arrived at the home. Scherer and the suspect were both taken to a hospital where the deputy was pronounced dead a short time later. The suspect remains hospitalized in serious condition. Hinton today refused to publicly identify the shooter, telling reporters he doesn't deserve it. 2 Akron police officers would be placed on paid leave following an officer-involved shooting that occurred late Sunday night near the University of Akron. Officers called to check on a teenager in the 400 block of Grant Street, heard gunshots nearby, and responded to the 400 block of Sherman Street about 1 block away. Officers encountered a male with a firearm running out of an apartment. The suspect reportedly began shooting, causing the officers to return fire. The 33-year-old suspect was apprehended a few blocks away. Neither the suspect nor the officers were injured. A 27-year-old female inside one of the apartments was found with a gunshot wound to the leg. She was taken to a local hospital with a non-life-threatening injury. The name of the suspect has not been released. Taking a look at Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed today at 42,305, up 702 points. The Nasdaq Composite ended the day 462 points higher at 19,199. And the S&P 500 closed at 5,914, up 112 points. It's 62 degrees in Alliance at 5:09. This is the local edition of WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Here's the Alliance area.
92.
Mostly cloudy skies with a shower in certain places this afternoon. Going to be a high around 71 for your Tuesday. Tonight, periods of rain, breezy this evening with a low going down to 52 degrees. That's a look at your forecast right here on today's hit music, Q92.
Q92.
Mostly cloudy skies with a shower in certain places this afternoon. Going to be a high around 71 for your Tuesday. Tonight, periods of rain, breezy this evening with a low going down to 52 degrees. That's a look at your forecast right here on today's hit music, Q92.
Q92.
Mostly cloudy skies with a shower in certain places this afternoon. Going to be a high around 71 for your Tuesday. Tonight, periods of rain, breezy this evening with a low going down to 52 degrees. That's a look at your forecast right here on today's hit music, Q92.
And expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
With love, I will build a wonderful thing that makes this life better for you and for me.
For 100 years and counting, Shriners Hospitals for Children has been creating wonderful opportunities for children in need. This life-changing medical care helps them do the things they've always dreamed of.
Shriners Hospitals for Children has done so much for me and so many other kids.
I can dance.
I can play games with my friends.
Because of Shriners Hospitals for Children, I have no limits, and I'm doing more than what I ever thought possible.
To find out more about how children in need are being helped every day, go to loveshriners.org today.
Live from the AM 1310 WDPN studio, it's time for live and local sports talk. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
I'm ready.
Give the show a call at 330-821-1310.
Good call, meatball.
Watch the Sam Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Edwards. Bank shot no good. Rebound Gildas Alexander. Holds it. Throws it down the court. Goes out of bounds. Throws it inside. Deflected from Williams. And that's it. It's over.
He's got his weight back. Now he's trying to get his baseball weight and strength back.
3-2 pitch hit on the ground to third. Long throw for Ramirez. On the money. Oh, boy. What a play. He climbs in. Williams has one that he likes. And off we go with Ohtani blasting the ball. Way gone. One pitch, one swing, one run. Attempting to stave off elimination tonight. Here's Stankoven. Stankoven in with a shot. Score! The Hurricanes take their first lead of the series.
With that, we welcome you back into the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN, streaming live all over the world at AM 1310 WDPN.com. How we doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being a part of the family here on this Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Hope you got to spend it with friends and family, or a combination of both, or maybe you just wanted to say, hey, I'm getting away from everybody. I'm going to go relax and chill out for 72 hours. Whatever you did, hope you had a great time doing it. And we certainly welcome you back here to the program. We'll be with you till 6 o'clock tonight. And don't forget to join us every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 until 6 here on 1310 WDPN. You can also listen on our social media platforms, the WDPN X page, the Facebook page. You can pop that on your computer, your phone right now, watch and listen. You can also watch and listen on the Q92 Radio Facebook page and Q92 Radio YouTube channel as well. Sammy B here, Ryan Rainsberg on the other side of the glass.
The ever elusive Ryan Rainsberg.
That's right. That's right. And I do apologize. I put us behind about a minute here to start this final hour. It dawned on me when I was going through the lobby, walking back from the office back into the studio, and you get the habit of looking outside. I looked outside and I said, oh God, it's getting, can we please stop the rain for 2 days in a row, please? Anyway, I looked outside. The clouds are thickening. It's getting dark. and I happen to look at my car, and I remember when I got here today, I left all the windows down. Now, I left them down on purpose because when I left to come to work this morning, I remembered to bring one of our gas containers. You know me, I'm always on the verge of what? Mowing the grass. But, Mother Nature gums up the works every other couple of days, and we gotta improvise. So anyhow, my plan was to mow, and but I knew I had to get gas. But I knew if I left work and I drove home, it's about 28-minute drive. I knew if I went home that I would not get the gas can and go back out and go up to the gas station, get gas, come home, fill the mower, and mow. I know me, and I know I wouldn't do it. I'm like, you know what? Aha! I'm going to take that gas can with me to work. So I did, and I figured, well, if I leave the windows up, it's going to smell like gasoline. So I rolled the windows down. Maybe, yay, here. I'm doing it on about this much, okay? And then I looked outside, I saw it getting dark, and I thought, it's going to rain any minute. So I went out and I put the windows up, and by the time I got back in, we were about a minute behind schedule. So that one's on me. That'll never happen again, I promise. Yeah, right. Phone lines are open at 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. You can always text the program at 330-924-7088. A couple of quick things I want to get right out here. Congratulations to former Glen Oak Golden Eagles standout Eric McCullum. His team won the EuroLeague championship yesterday. They knocked off Monaco 81-70. They actually had a parade today. And if you can check out my X page at Sam Bourquin 16, you also want to check out at Courtside Sam Lee on X, and you can see Eric in the parade. He took a little self video and posted it, and we kind of reposted that, retweeted it, whatever. So you can go check that out on X. Congratulations to Eric for winning his EuroLeague championship. Also, want to congratulate the former Jackson Polar Bear coach, basketball coach for many, many, many years. Also coached at Massillon, spent the last couple of years at Tuskegee Central Catholic. Shout out to Larry Taylor. He is the new head boys basketball coach at Coventry. And we'll try to catch up with LT here maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday this week, and kind of see where he's at as far as his coaching career and what kind of lured him to take the gig up at Coventry. And I promised you before we took our break at the top of the hour, I had a wild baseball score to tell you about from the high school tournament today. Division II district semifinal. Are you sitting down? If you're driving now, you might want to pull over. Final score at Ducky Schroeder Field in Massillon today. The Massillon Tigers beat Euclid 35-0 in 5 innings. You heard that right. 35-0. And it wasn't like the Tigers are pouring it on. Typical. No, that's not what happened. Massillon pulled their starters in the bottom of the second inning. And it was already out of hand. But then they put other protocol in during the game, the coaches. If you get a base hit, no matter where you hit it, how far you hit it, you stop at first base. If you get a walk, you take your walk. There's no stealing. There's no advancing on a wild pitch. There's no advancing on a pass ball. It's base to base, and that's it. So they weren't trying to pound them. I mean, it appears that it looks that way, but in reality, all the starters were out in the bottom of the second inning. Okay, but it was just a bad day for Euclid. Massillon wins it by the score of 35-0. 8-0. You say, man, that's a heck of a day. Well, yeah, a heck of a day, but it was a pretty good day for the Massillon pitching staff. They had a combined no-hitter today between Drew Longwell and Braden Creamer. So congratulations to Drew and Braden for that combined no-hitter. And you're saying, Drew Longwell. Well, yep, there's another one coming. And he's good too. Just like Brother Aiden, who we had on the show last week, who was playing for the Spokane Indians in the A-ball and the Rockies organization. Drew is pretty good too. Drew is really, really good. So congratulations to the Tigers. They'll move on to the district semifinals. Also, it is our Sam Bourquin poll question of the day. Good response today. I even got my producer. He was all excited about this one today. The question is, which one is the best series of these four? A, The Game of Thrones, B, Breaking Bad, C, The Wire, or D, The Sparanos. Out of those four, which one's the best? Which one was your favorite? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, or The Sparanos? You can drop those comments at AM 1310 WDPN, the Sam Bourquin page on Facebook, on X. So you can also put your comments on our YouTube channel feed, courtesy of Q92 Radio and the Q92 Radio Facebook page as well. Let's check out the results on X. We'll do Facebook here in about a half an hour or so. As far as the poll on X goes, which is your favorite? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, Sopranos? Things have tightened up considerably. We should put this on the Vegas books. Which one's going to be the winner? You've got 7 hours and 7 minutes to get your vote in, by the way, at Sam Bourquin 16 on X. How about this? I got to put my glasses on. Are you kidding me right now? The Sopranos, 38%. Breaking Bad, 36%. Game of Thrones, 19%. The Wire, 7%. I'm going to tell you what, for a long time, the Sopranos were running away with this. And here comes Breaking Bad. At Sam Bourquin 16 on X, at AM 1310 WDPN. Check it out. Which one is your favorite series? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, The Sopranos?
You know what, Sam?
You said, who did you tell me earlier? You said somebody nudged out one.
No, somebody mentioned the show Ozark on Netflix with
right.
Jason Bateman.
That's right.
And that is Breaking Bad levels of good television.
You know, I feel like such a schmuck because I put this question out there and I knew it would draw. I knew it would get conversation and I knew a lot of people would vote. But as I explained to Ryan, I have seen none of these except for like 3 episodes of The Sopranos. We never had HBO. So couldn't watch them. Now, I know Breaking Bad has run in syndication, or not syndication, but they've had it a lot on, I think, Netflix maybe, or on AMC Plus.
Yeah, actually, I think syndication might be the right word.
Okay, syndication.
Yeah, it was originally aired on television via syndication.
But I never saw Game of Thrones, didn't have HBO. Never saw Breaking Bad, didn't have HBO. Never saw The Sopranos, except for a couple, and that just happened to be they were running a free preview weekend. So I set the DVR and I recorded a couple of episodes, which was kind of pointless because that's all I was going to see. I'm like, okay, well, that was pointless. And I haven't seen any of The Wire. I haven't seen any of those. But I thought, you know what? All 4 of those were very well viewed. Everybody talked about them. They were like in the mainstream. So I'm like, heck, I'm going to put that out there, even though I never watched an episode. Is that very bad of me to do something like that?
I mean, Sam, I'm the co-host.
I'm admitting it.
I'm the co-host to a sports show, and I have no idea what you're talking about 90% of the time. So I think it's okay.
You think it's okay?
I think it's fine.
You know, it's funny. I've been working with Ryan Rainsberg for 10 years. Just when I came over here to start broadcasting Mount Union football and basketball, Ryan has been our producer back at the station while we're over at Mount Union or we're on the road. Never met him, never saw him, really never talked outside of, hey, are we good to go? Okay, we're going to start here. Boom. That's been about it. It's been all the technical side. So I come over here to start working full time, which has been about a month now, and I absolutely positively are loving the heck out of this. And still, I get up every day going, man, I am so happy to go to work today. This is awesome. So I get to know Ryan a little bit, and he pulls me aside like last week. This isn't really true, but I'm going to say it. He says, I'm producing your sports show, and I don't really know the difference between a baseball or a hockey stick. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't watch any TV sports. I'm kidding. But you're coming along, man.
I think Sam's overselling it a little bit. I know. I can follow. I can follow sports.
I am a little bit, because I have to.
I know the difference between a baseball bat and a hockey stick. Thank God.
But he's coming along. That's why when I do these poll questions, sometimes I like to put in a little, veer off sports a little bit. You have to. My God, you can't go 24 hours a day.
No, I'm coming along.
And I like to put in like some movie stuff. I know you're a big movie fan, some entertainment, like concerts, bands, groups, stuff like that. So I'm here for you, man. I'm here. I'm going to go in 50-50 with you.
Hey, I watched half of the Pacers game on Sunday.
Yeah, and you know what happened to him? What happened?
He didn't win. And, I got to admit, I watched the first half, and I was like, I finished watching it because I was good at that point, and I felt like, yeah, the Pacers probably got it.
But then what?
That's how they were playing the first half.
But then what did you do in the second half? What happened to you?
Oh, see, I don't know. I didn't watch the second half.
You fell asleep, passed out.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing drugs or anything, but I just fell asleep.
That's my problem. I don't have a long attention span for sports. I can find it interesting for a solid 20, 30 minutes, and then.
Can I interest you in sports betting?
No.
That will make you pay attention.
I know it will. It will also ruin my life.
That will make you pay attention.
I need my money to pay bills.
You'll be ready to kill me if yeah.
No. My friend already tried. It does not work.
Does not work.
No,
Okay.
I don't have the attention span to learn all the stuff to do it.
All right. Well, I'll stop. But if you ever get the itch, I can explain all.
I have a
that to
DraftKings account.
How it works? Okay. Well, good. You're halfway. You're halfway
it's
there.
It's just shadow banned.
When Ohio first legalized gambling, which was, I think we're coming up on.
Has it been 2 years?
Has it been almost? I want to say in January it'll be 3 years.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's been at least 2.
So, and I've always been the guy here that and people were hooting and hollering about how it was going to just ruin everything. I said, look, people have been gambling since Adam and Eve. Am I right? Go back in the Bible and look.
Yeah.
People have been gambling since Adam and Eve. So don't think it's the end of the world. Now, some people handle it better than others. That's true. But again, hey, that's the world you live in, okay? I am very proud of myself. When it became legal, I opened up 2 accounts. I opened up FanDuel and I opened up BetMGM. I am still playing on my original deposit of 2.5 years. Now, I don't bet every night, which you'll learn you don't have to bet every night. You got to be selective, okay? You don't always have to bet on the big TV game, the big Monday night game. Hell, there's been a couple Super Bowls that said, no way, I don't feel good about it. But I'm still on my original deposit, which in essence, back then when they had those promos going, if you put in, what was it, $15 or $25, they would give you $150 in bets or $200 in free bet money. I'm still playing on that, which is pretty good. Now, I haven't collected anything, but I'm still kind of using their money. Okay? That's a good thing. And that's true. I'm not making that up.
No, I did the same thing for about a year. And then when I ran out, I stopped.
Oh, you ran out.
And I was like, nah, I'm not going to put real money into it. That would be gambling.
Yeah, well, hey, guess what? I've made us late again. And I just told you I'd never do it again. We'll take a break. News and weather coming up. A half hour to go. We've got our On This Day in Sports History coming up after the break. Keep it here. 1310 WDPN.
Here's the latest news on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 5:30. 3 more of the inmates who escaped from a New Orleans jail May 16th were recaptured Monday, leaving 2 still on the run. ABC's Jim Ryan tells us about the remaining fugitives.
At the time of the jailbreak, 27-year-old Derek Groves was waiting to be sentenced on his 2 second-degree murder convictions. Groves is considered so dangerous that 2 prosecutors who helped to convict him left the state after hearing about the escape. The other fugitive is convicted rapist Antoine Massey, who's fled from custody 3 times in the past.
Meanwhile, Louisiana State Police say the number of people charged in the jailbreak has risen to 13. The former prosecutor who helped put the former police chief Grant Hardin, who escaped from an Arkansas prison behind bars, is now speaking out about Hardin and his escape. Former Benton County prosecutor Nathan Smith.
He's a sociopath. Prison's not full of people who are all bad. It's full of a lot of people who just do bad things. Grant's different.
Hardin was convicted of murder and rape. He escaped from a prison in north central Arkansas Sunday. State troopers, sheriff's deputies, and local police across Arkansas have been told to be on the lookout for him. Police say 65 people were injured when a car rammed into a crowd of Liverpool soccer fans celebrating their team's Premier League championship, and 11 remain hospitalized today. Assistant Chief Constable Jenny Sims of Merseyside Police said the patients were all stable. 50 of the casualties required hospital treatment. The 53-year-old car driver has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Detective Chief Superintendent Karen Jondrill says the man is also being held on suspicion of dangerous driving and driving on drugs. The suspect reportedly followed an ambulance to get through roadblocks that had been set up during Liverpool's championship parade. Stocks jumped higher today on the news that tariffs against European exports have been delayed until July 9th. More from ABC's Alexis Christophers, who says despite the rally, stocks and U.S. tariff policies are still uncertain long-term.
As tariff policy flip-flops, so too do the markets. Today, we have a nice rally on optimism that trade deals could be in the offing. The fact that the White House did hit the pause button on those stiff 50% tariffs against the European Union. That's not the only reason why we're rallying today. We also got a report that showed consumer confidence jump for the first time in 5 months, the biggest jump in about 4 years.
It's 62 degrees in Alliance at 5:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Now, the Alliance Area Weather Forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
Mostly cloudy skies with a shower in certain places this afternoon. Going to be a high around 71 for your Tuesday. Tonight, periods of rain, breezy this evening with a low going down to 52 degrees. That's a look at your forecast right here on today's hit music, Q92.
Hey, we're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at USO.org today.
My doctor said I could use something called a biosimilar. Then she told me what it is.
A biosimilar is a type of biologic medication. Just like brand name drugs have generic versions, original biologics can have biosimilars.
So I asked what the benefits are and if they work the same.
Biosimilars have the same safety, effectiveness, and quality as the original biologic. They also offer more medication options at potentially more competitive prices.
My doctor said I could learn more at fda.gov/biosimilars.
It is once again time for On This Day in Sports History as we continue here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Here we go. On this day in 1873, the first Preakness Stakes was won by a horse called Survivor. On this day in 1968, and we'll get back into this, but after 48 years as head coach, Bears George Halas, he retired. On this day in 1968, it was also announced baseball franchises had been awarded to Montreal and San Diego, the birth of the Expos and the Padres. On this day in 1982, 3 New Jersey businessmen bought the NHL's Colorado Rockies. Then they got approval to move the team to New Jersey, and then they became the New Jersey Devils. On this day in 2003, it was reported that Patrick Waugh of the Colorado Avalanche would announce his retirement from the NHL the following day. All right, it's time for the ever-popular audio portion of On This Day in History. And as I mentioned earlier today, I cheated a little bit. We had one from yesterday that we weren't able to use because we weren't here yesterday. I said, I'm going to put that on today. On this day, May 26, 1993, you remember when a ball bounced off Jose Canseco's head? Here it is.
Indians and the Rangers. Rangers leading 3-1. It's Carlos Martinez, Reggie Jefferson, and Glenn Allen Hill coming up to face Kenny Rogers.
Not running out ground balls, not hustling, and the White Sox really got upset with him.
High fly ball, right field deep. Canseco back to the track, looking out. It is off his head, it looked like. And over the top. A home run. That looked like it hit Canseco to the top of the head. We'll have to check the replay. It did. It went over the fence. David Hull's laughing out there, so it must hit something funny.
Well, this week in baseball has its lead piece of video.
How about that? On this day in 1993, actually yesterday, Indians Rangers at Municipal Stadium. By the way, there was 14,275 there that day. You heard the cannons going off as Martinez hit the home run, bounced off of Jose Canseco's head, and the Tribe would go on to win. On this day in 1987, we re-referenced it, 1968, George Halas retired. But we thought we'd go back and pick up a little cut where he actually mentioned Canton, Ohio.
My wife says, what's that old man doing down on the 5-yard line there? Isn't that against the rules? Why don't they penalize him? And I said, we wouldn't be sitting here watching this game if it wasn't for that old man.
In 1920, I met with 10 other owners in an automobile showroom in Canton, Ohio, to form this organization, which is now known as the National Football League. We had great confidence in our game even then, but none of us realized that professional football would achieve the great popularity that it has today.
That was the old Papa Bear, George Halas. He actually retired on this day in 1968. To the world of baseball, May 27, 1987. Now, on this day, Phil Niekro became the third pitcher ever to make 700 starts. I want to take you back to when the Yankees were playing the Blue Jays at Old Exhibition Stadium, and Knucksy was on the mound to pick up his 300th career win.
That's it! Holy cow, what a way to end it! A strikeout gets his 300th career win, and I tell you, this is really an exciting moment. In a year that's been filled with exciting moments for the Yankees, the brothers hugging, and I want to tell you, that is really an emotional moment. Phil Niekro is really something. At 47 years of age, I mean,
how about that? At the age of 47, he got his 300th win as the Yankees polished off the Blue Jays in Toronto. And on this day, May 27th, 2018, you might remember this. The Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Boston Celtics, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and a fellow by the name of LeBron James, because of it, reached his 8th straight NBA Finals.
Taken by James. Here comes James in the open floor. James grabbed from behind. Count it. Goaltend and one. Mama. There goes that man.
And they're going to look at flagrant foul here.
There it was. That put the Cavaliers over the hump. They knocked off the Celtics, and they again would go back to the NBA Finals to take on Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. There you go. On this day in sports history, May 27th here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Holy smokes. All right. How many of you recognized the play-by-play voice behind the mic calling Phil Niekro's 300th win? Anybody remember that? Remember that voice? That was the Scooter. Phil Rizzuto back in the day called that Yankee game against Toronto. And I don't know how many decades Rizzuto called the Yankees games, but he did it for a long, long time and did a heck of a job. And I forgot, we were listening to that cut. He talked about the brothers were embracing. I forgot that Joe Niekro, Phil's brother, was also on the Yankees at that time. So what a cool moment that had to be for the Niekro brothers to embrace after Phil, at the age of 47, won his 300th game. And did you remember Phil Niekro actually pitched for the Cleveland Indians? He did. Nuxie. He must have been 50. No, he wasn't that old. Oh, he might have. He might have been. I don't know. But he pitched for the Tribe back in the day. And just to watch him throw that knuckleball, that flutter ball up there, 55, 65 miles an hour. He was one of a dying breed. I mean, nobody throws the knuckleball now. And if they do, it's certainly an out pitch. It's not the one that they throw 95% of the game. And his brother Joe was different. Joe Niekro was fastball, curve, knuckleball. But Phil, he was a straight knuckleball pitcher. And he was so much fun to watch, and good for him, man. On this day, he actually made his 700th start in Major League Baseball. Also, there was a cool quote today, and this was from Sir Edmund. Nobody climbs mountains for scientific reasons. Science is used to raise money for their expeditions, but you really climb just for the hell of it. That was the quote of the day by Sir Edmund. We don't usually do the quote of the day, but I thought that was pretty cool. We could work that in today. Phone lines are open at 330-821-1310. You can also text the show at 330-924-7088. I understand we have some comments over there via the social media platforms, Mr. Rainsberg.
We actually have somebody on the phone.
Oh, well, let's do that first. All right, let's go to line number 52 here on WDPN. You're on the Sam Bourquin Show. Good afternoon. Who's this?
Hey, Sam. How are you doing today?
Good. Who we got?
Hey, this is Henry.
Henry, how you doing, bud?
Hey, I got a comment. Well, a comment regarding the Browns, but also a perspective on the Browns.
Okay, go for it.
And also the Bengals situation as well. The Browns, I think, once the court issue, so far as the Modell law is concerned, I think once that is determined, that's going to dictate the whole equation. And it's going to make the whole situation mute, especially if it's thrown out of court, the Modell law. There's nothing that the city can come back on. And at that point, they can walk into Berea with a clear conscience. Now, looking at it in perspective in the way that it is, originally when they constructed the stadium, remember, there was no ownership input as to how that stadium was built. It was just thrown up, and there was no input from anybody. So here you got what you got now, and had there been ownership input into it in the beginning, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are. Now, taking the thing to another step with the Bengals, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Bengals, now the ownership, the current ownership of the Bengals, if they don't get what they're after, they're planning on moving to Orlando.
Orlando?
Yes.
Is this this obviously hasn't been reported or anything, but like, where do you get your information as far as Orlando? I think that would be insane. You would have Tampa, Miami, and Orlando all with NFL teams, I think that would be crazy.
You know, after living in Florida for 5.5 years, you get to learn, you know, who's telling what. And this is basically what they're talking about now down there, which I find very fascinating. You know, and I think the state of Ohio needs to realize that if they're going to be the capital of football, they need to put up or shut up.
Yeah, Henry, I'll tell you what I see here is, and I guess I kind of understand. I will sympathize or I will empathize with people who are tired of hearing, well, this is the way it is in 2025. It's either play ball or lose ball. And we've seen that all over the country with, you know, teams moving, ownership groups picking teams up from one city, moving to another, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, the Browns already left once and went to Baltimore. The Mike Brown, the Brown family has been very, I guess I'll use Nick Shook's term. They've been very frugal with the franchise. They're the only one. They're close to getting an indoor facility. It's not done yet. But, I mean, come on, it's 2025. What are you doing down there? But that stadium, I've been there. That stadium needs a lot of work, and I could probably make a case that they might need a new one. But wow, I can you imagine if the Brown family would pick up the Bengals and move them to Orlando, Florida? Holy smokes.
That is some serious talk that's now being circulated now in Orlando.
Wow. That's wild. Henry, I appreciate the call. Thanks for listening, and don't be a stranger, all right?
Hey, thank you.
You bet. There you go. Henry checking in here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. I know we got a couple text over there, I think.
Yes, we do, Sam. Let's see. First one that came in says, "What's up, Sammy?" He wants to send a shout out to Glen Oak doubles team Dylan Wiles and Jack Slay, the Northeast Ohio District tennis champs, and one of the 4 number 1 seeds in Worcester this Thursday at the state tennis tournament.
All right, go get him, Eagles.
He also wants to shout out McKinley Jr. Elijah Corin for qualifying for the OHSAA tennis state tournament in singles. First McKinley tennis player to qualify for the state since 2000.
Wow. Well, congratulations,
So good
Elijah.
for him.
Good
Congratulations
job.
for sure.
Thanks for texting that in.
And then Sal over here says, "Yo, Sammy, Sal here. I've got the Pacers for plus 1.5 for the series. Pacers tonight. Let's go."
Pacers plus 1.5. Oops, almost knocked the microphone over. Pacers plus 1.5 for the series.
Yep.
Ooh. Okay.
How do you win 1.5 in the series?
Well, it's a future on this, on the winner of the series and how many games it will go. Or how many games the team will win the series by. You know, we talked in the 3:00 hour, maybe it was the 4:00 hour, I don't remember. But after the first 2 games of the Indiana New York series, I'm like, man, this thing's going to be lucky to go 5.
Yeah.
Now I sit here today and I will tell you I'm not guaranteeing it, but I think it's going to go 7.
I could also agree with that.
I would not be surprised if it went 7. But Sal, I will be rooting for you. Now you've given me something to root for.
Hey, I'm rooting for the Pacers. I'm with Sal too.
You know, I'm rooting for the Pacers for a couple of reasons. It's a small market team. It's a basketball town. They've had some good teams over the years. They've also have had some very bad teams. And I'm going back to the late 70s when they had guys like Mike Bannum and Kevin McKenna and guys like that. But then I kind of, when Larry Bird took over and coached them for several years, I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this. So I'm not a Pacer fan, but I appreciate what they bring to the table. And they got a beautiful arena, beautiful place to play basketball.
Yeah.
Now,
agree.
The other thing is, I think we all get New Yorked out because the mainstream media shoves New York down our throat. anytime they get an opportunity, whether it's the Yankees, the Mets, the Giants, the Jets, the Knicks, the Rangers, the Islanders, whatever. But there's something that draws me to New York, and it's Madison Square Garden. I love watching playoff basketball on television at the Garden. I've never been there. It's a bucket list for me. Maybe Spike Lee will one day notice me on X and invite me to a game. Probably not. But there's something about MSG and the magic, the big stage, the super bright lights, and I love watching playoff games there. So I know if Indiana wins the series, MSG is going to be done for the year. I know if the Knicks win, I'll get 2, maybe 3 more games to watch games from Madison Square Garden. So that's where I'm kind of torn there. I wouldn't be disappointed either way because I think Oklahoma City is the best team still left, and I think the Thunder are poised to win a championship. But I do think this Eastern Conference Finals is going 7. And I would put a couple of shekels on that if I had them. All right, it is 5:53. We are inching our way toward the top of the hour. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get your calls at 330-821-1310. We'll continue to read your text at 330-924-7088. We'll continue to check out the latest results on our Sam Bourquin Show poll quiz of the day. Which of this group of 4 is the best series that you've watched? Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, The Wire, or The Sopranos? We'll come back and update you there. Check out the poll and get one last quick preview of the Guardians and the Dodgers. All coming up next year on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton, and I want to share with you the experience of Donna in Washington. She writes, I got injured about 5 years ago. I was let go when, because of the injury, I couldn't keep up with my schedule. I've tried to find other work, but I'm 68 now. No one wants to hire someone that old. This week is tough, though, because I had to get my tooth fixed. So I only have $10 in my checking account. But it will be okay. I at least have food because of this pantry. Millions of people face hunger. Some every day, just like Donna. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
I think we can all agree. Over the last few years, things have gotten weird.
Weird, confusing, and at times pretty scary.
And for our kids, these things can be overwhelmingly stressful
and can increase the risk for mental health problems as they grow.
But there's so much hope.
Scientific research and real-life experience
tell us that the number one antidote to stress is authentic, trusted relationships.
So that's why I.
That's why we.
That's why I am committed to building and maintaining a trusted space.
For the students I influence every single day.
Until schools across the country
can proudly call ourselves a trusted space.
This is 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 a trusted space.
Access free films and resources to build trusted spaces in your schools and communities at atrustedspace.org.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Welcome back to the show. We've got about, we got about 4 minutes left in the program.
3 minutes, 40 seconds to be exact.
Look at my
Sam.
guy. You're on it over there, brother. You were on it. 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. If you want to squeeze a quick call in or a quick text to 330-924-7088 is our cleaning crew is at it with the sweeper out there. But that's good. We've got a nice, clean building here. Let's see here. High school baseball tournament score today. If you missed it, wild game over in Massillon today. Massillon Tigers beat Euclid 35-0. 5 innings. Tigers move on to the district semifinal. Holy smokes. How does that happen? Congratulations, Larry Taylor, new head boys basketball coach at Coventry. We'll try to get Coach on here in the next couple of days. And shout out to former Glen Oak Golden Eagles standout Eric McCullum. His Euro basketball team won the Euro championship yesterday, beating Monaco 81-70. Way to go, Eric, and way to represent the 3-3-0. All right, the Sam Bourquin Show poll question today. Of this group of 4 shows, which one was the best? Which one is your favorite? And, boy, I'll tell you what, we are still locking here. The Sopranos at 39%, Breaking Bad at 35%, Game of Thrones at 20%, The Wire's at 8%. That's just on the Twitter poll, the X poll. There's a lot of other voting on Facebook, and that's really heavily going toward The Sopranos right now.
Anybody putting, I mean, I haven't seen The Wire, so I can't speak for it, but anybody putting Game of Thrones above The Wire did not watch the last season. That's all I can say. You really got to rate the show based on the entirety of the show. And man, seven incredible seasons and 1 incredibly bad season to contrast it. So
let me ask you this. Say we just met on the street. I have never seen any of these shows, and I have the full capability with HBO, whatever. Which one are you telling me that I have to watch out of those 4?
Oh, God, A Stranger. If I have I think I would probably say Breaking Bad.
You would, okay.
Breaking Bad is a good all around. Most people are going to like Breaking Bad.
Now, what's the name of the main character? Who was
Walter White?
Walter White. And he's the guy that cooked the stuff. Okay. See, that much I knew because I got that from my in-laws because they watched it religiously.
I've been a Bryan Cranston fan since I was a kid because he was in that Malcolm in the Middle show, which I watched all the time when I was a kid. So I've been following Bryan Cranston for years. He's always been a great actor. So
interesting. All right, it is that time. You know when I hear those first couple of beats,
Sam had to tell me to play it this time. I wasn't paying attention. I gotta be doing my job.
I'm producing my producer over there. Hey, it's all right. We're one big team here on 1310 WDPN. Hey, we got to roll. Thanks to everybody today. Thanks to my producer, Ryan Rainsberg. Thanks to all the callers, texters, commenters on all of our social media platforms. Thanks to Nick Shook from NFL.com for coming on and talking some NFL with us in the 3 o'clock hour as well. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great night. Remember, go Cavs, go Browns, go Bucks, go Guards. Good night.